What is up, and welcome to Ask DLF, the place where we are going to answer all of your questions, every single one of your Dynasty questions that you've ever had in your entire life. You can ask us right here. We've got Tyler in the house. He's right there next to us. We got Addison. There he is.
I've been here this whole time.
We got to change the background there. Addison, let's see. There we go.
Is that the one we're supposed to use?
Oh, wait, we got it wrong. That's the overlay. All right, there we go. There it is. Addison in the house. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you joining us, Addison. Appreciate everyone who's in the comments here for tuning in. Lots of questions already rolling in. We're going to get to those. Don't worry. And just so you know, we are going to get to those in order. I wanted to make sure I said this up front this week. I get it. We can get behind. We're going to be late. Like, it's going to be a little bit slow sometimes getting to certain questions, but we answer them in order, and we're definitely going to get to whatever question comes in. And if you post it a bunch of times, like, we're not going to see it faster, I promise.
And it may piss Tyler off.
And it might, and Tyler might block you. If
Tyler has equal control with Cal and Addison of that block button.
That's exactly right. So make sure you guys go ahead and hit the subscribe button to this channel. Addison, where are we at on our counter? You got it right there next to you. How many subscribers?
8530.
We got to get to 10,000, man. It's got to happen. 8530. Invite your friends. Make sure that you are subscribed. We also want to make sure that you hit the like button, because those are also really good for us. Every time you hit the like button, Addison gets his wings. He gets happy. He's excited. Make sure you do that. Tyler even gets like a little bit of a small smirk when you do it. Like, it's not a huge one, not as big as Addison's, but he gets a little small smirk when you hit the like button. He likes to see him. Today's episode brought to you by dynastyfootball.com. dynastyfootball.com, excuse me. Make sure that you are a premium subscriber. I was having a conversation with a lot of people online where we were talking about the trade finder and different things like that. Really good tools that are going to help you as you try to figure out what trades, what moves to make, things like that. Great articles. Addison did a great job setting up so many of the tools that we have on hand. He's not just a pretty face on YouTube. He also is really good at setting up tools to help you win your leagues. And before we get too far, we also have, I want to tell you guys about a sponsor that we have. That is Underdog Fantasy, and it's the easiest way to play fantasy sports. If you've never played Underdog before, now is the perfect time. Right now, I know I've said it before, but right now actually is the perfect time. You go sign up, use the promo code DLF, deposit a minimum of $10, and you can start playing daily fantasy today. Pick up pick 'em player props, season-long best ball, including world-famous Best Ball Mania, all that stuff. On top of that, Underdog subscribers are going to get a free year of DLF premium subscription with a $10 deposit when you use that code DLF. Make sure you have that code DLF, and if you already have a subscription, a year will be credited to your account. Now it's time to get to your questions. So many things to talk about coming off of week 6. We're getting there. It's amazing. It's already 6 weeks into the season. We're coming up on the halfway point. It's crazy how fast this thing goes. If you are just joining us, the way you do it is you do what John does right here. Pulled the trigger on a trade in 12-man Dynasty Superflex PPR, third most points, but 1 in 5. So I gave Zeke for Nico Collins and a second, mid to late. Tyler, what do you think about that trade?
It's boring, but it's fine. It is what it is. That's probably all. You're not going to get a first for Zeke, so what else are you going to do? Get 2 seconds, I guess, would have been better.
I'm kind of surprised he even got 1 second.
That bad these days?
It's that bad, yeah.
Yeah.
I was asked if you should drop Zeke in Dynasty. It was shorter rosters. I think it was 18, 20 man. But it was should I drop Zeke right now? Because I can't get anything for him, and he's just wasting a roster spot. That's how bad it is.
Coming off of a pretty decent game, I mean, maybe this is the time to try to see if you can get something for him, right?
Probably, yeah. I mean, the volume's still been there. He just hasn't done anything with the volume. When you have 18 rush attempts for 60 yards, that's 6 fantasy points, So,
right.
It's just rough. You need that touchdown or else he's not going to help you at all.
Absolutely. Wants to know if it was solid. Look, it's you're not going to get a home run when you're talking about Zeke, but like that's a solid. You got a catcher's interference to get yourself on first. It's not a super exciting play, but yeah, you got there. Good job. Oldak, redraft 2 QB, start 10, trade Jamar Chase. Cousins and Thielen for Hurts and AJ Brown.
Man.
Tyler.
Take Hurts and AJ Brown.
That's where I was leaning to, but I was trying to decide if it was better to have the quote unquote better wide receiver, even though it seems like they could be in kind of the same tier for the extra player. But I think I want the elite quarterback, and AJ Brown is still an elite wide receiver, so I'll take that.
Yes, sir. All right. Hey, there's Eric, my buddy Eric, who I met in person. If you want to see, Eric is the dad who was asking, like, the newborn dad who was asking me a lot of questions. Got a chance to meet him at a baseball game this past weekend, where my oldest son got to come over there, hang out. Didn't get to meet baby Ask DLF Jr., which I was initially like thinking I might get a chance to, but I did get him a Ask DLF Jr. onesie that I was able to give to him. So I'm waiting for my picture, Eric. Make sure you send me my picture of that, your baby in that little onesie. So
I still can't believe that this is a reality.
What?
That they met up?
All of it, the whole thing. That there's an Ask DLF Junior onesie. That
it exists in the world? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, this is very interesting.
That's honestly, like, Eric, to Eric's question here, one thing that made you smile, like, I've been smiling every single day because I feel like I just remember that tweet, and it's just like the fact that happened might be like the best and most wholesome thing I've ever seen from this industry.
Dude, it was so cool. Like, and look, shout out to my wife, did a great job. Like, it was her idea to get the onesie, and I was like, that's perfect. Yes, let's do that. Let's get that. We can give it to him. And it got drowned out because, like, so many people like were so up in arms about my tweet saying like trading would get better if like there was transparency where your whole league could see the offers. Like, we don't have to get into that, but like there was so much traction on that. I feel like my tweet showing like Eric and the Ask DLF Jr. got drowned out. Nobody really ever saw that one. So I don't know. I might tweet that out again. We'll see.
Do it again. Just retweet it. Retweet it now. So
yeah,
like,
you gotta go check it out. I'm gonna go do that.
Awesome.
All right. What else? Tyler, something that made you smile.
Where is it? Oh, not that. This.
Hey.
Nice. If you really want to know how to give me wings, that's how.
Nice. Eric chimes in here with a question. 12 team Superflex, Breece Hall, Chris Godwin, or 323 first and thirds. Ooh, two look to be playoff teams. Another one looks middling.
I'll take Hall and Godwin.
Hall and Godwin.
Really?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Wow.
If
so
these
how
are
many
playoff team firsts?
Hall's the Dynasty RB1. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
I think Godwin's worth the one first plus. Like the first and third isn't enough. Maybe first and second. And then if the other two first for Hall, I'd rather have Hall. So, yeah.
Okay. So if what would that line be for you? 2 first and what would equal?
Depends on exactly where they are, but
right.
Hall is worth a lot.
I'd take 2 first that were like top 4 for Hall. But if these 2 firsts are bottom 4, it's very different.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm sure there's lots of Breece Hall talk as we get through here. Eric asking again, 12 team Superflex, Tyreek Hill, or a middling 23 first and third.
How middling?
7, let's say.
Hill, I guess. And you get the games, right? I mean, if you want to win, it is what it is.
Yeah. it's kind of it is kind of like which direction are you heading in? Like I think this is a great return if you're 2-4 right now and you had Tyreek Hill hoping that he would do something for you and you can cash out for a mid first, somebody who's on the opposite side, 4-2, 3-3, might be thinking that they're a Tyreek Hill away from making the playoffs and potentially winning the championship. That would be, it's a move on base. If you're competing, if you're 4-2, 5-1, take Tyreek Hill. If you're on the opposite side with the opposite record, take the first.
Jesse Riddle, happy Tuesday, dude. It's Taco Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, dudes. 12 team Superflex PPR. I'm considering moving Burks for either Zach Wilson or Tua. Is Burks worth Wilson straight up? How much would I need to add to get Tua?
I mean, Burks barely matters in comparison to Tua, right? So
yeah, you need at least another first, I think.
Yeah, at least
Tua.
another first. That's about fair, actually, probably.
What about
Burks?
for Wilson, who uninspiring, I guess, on the 4-2 Jets, but hey, they're winning.
Yeah.
So is Daniel Jones.
Yes, he is.
I think I'd take the quarterback. I think they're pretty close, but I would take the quarterback because super flex and just
Wilson and Burks are not close. Wilson is worth a lot more.
I think they're kind of ish. I mean,
They're not.
What are you adding to Burks?
Oh, I mean, I don't think you would add a first to Burks because Wilson is worth maybe a first on his own at best.
Right.
But they aren't close.
I feel like it'd be hard for me to send out Burks and my second for Zach Wilson.
Oh, I would do it. I would take Wilson.
That's a smart answer.
Yeah.
That's why Tyler's
That's
here.
why we have me.
Yep.
Aaron, dude, do y'all know that Key and Peele sketch?
I
Yes.
do.
Okay, thanks. All right, good.
Stunningly, I've actually seen something.
I'm glad that y'all actually know what that is. I'm not too old. Okay.
Also, Cal, I have something. If it comes up, I have something to tell you later in the show.
Oh
I
gosh.
think you'll like it.
All right. What's Hollywood's value in 10-team Superflex PPR no tight end premium or no tight end at all? But maybe no tight end at all.
Hopefully no tight end at all.
It probably doesn't matter.
I'm in a rebuilding team, and the Hollywood owner is looking to trade.
4.
I feel so bad for Hollywood because now we don't get to see what happens with him and DeAndre Hopkins. Now we
know
just have to
what's going to
wonder.
happen.
I'm pretty sure I know what was going to happen, but we can't know now. I don't know. I mean, I moved Hollywood. I have him now as Dynasty wide receiver 22, so that's still pretty high, if that helps.
Yeah, can you pay a couple seconds? Do you have some sort of a wide receiver that you can package with a second to get Hollywood?
Yeah, if you're rebuilding, can you get rid of someone older that you have?
Yeah.
I don't want to trade.
know.
I mean, he's 25. He's coming back this year.
Is he? Is that for
No.
sure?
This sounds like someone who's looking to acquire Hollywood, not get rid of him.
Oh, okay. Then yes.
That's what I'm saying. Trade
Yeah,
someone
I want
older. Like, could you trade Mike Evans for Hollywood straight up?
Ooh.
I would like that. Yes.
I
Maybe
will
somebody's
say,
like Keenan
I
Allen
looked
for
at
Hollywood
the
straight.
I looked at the ECR for this week, and the fact that Mike Evans is at 3 and Chris Godwin is at 12 tells me people didn't pay attention to last week.
All right. How much does the injury bother you here? Let me ask you: Marquise Brown or Deontay Johnson?
Hollywood.
I'll take Deontay Johnson. I had them back to back before the injury.
Marquise Brown or DK Metcalf?
Oh, DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf ahead before the injury.
Metcalf is in the latest ADP. He's wide receiver 15. Deontay is wide receiver 17. What about Hollywood Brown or Devontae Adams?
I have Devontae Adams ahead for now, but if Hollywood comes back and is effective, then I would probably go the other way.
I think that'd be one where if you had Devontae, I would love to trade Devontae for Hollywood plus, especially.
Yeah, but it has to be plus at this point.
Right. Especially to a contender.
Ooh, how about Hollywood Brown or DJ Moore?
Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood.
I'm tired of DJ Moore.
I
DJ
think the
Moore.
Bears
Traded to the
tired of
Chiefs.
him.
DJ Moore, I think is it's a problem. I have DJ Moore at wide receiver 28 in Dynasty.
That is
not happy with DJ Moore.
It's not
no good.
It's not bad. It's just like it's disappointing.
Well, I mean, at some point, an excuse, you can't have excuses. I mean, it's years of excuses now. And this last game was no good. I mean, he produced 7 yards. I mean, I don't care how bad the quarterback play is. Like, there's a coaching issue. There's a quarterback issue. There's maybe at some point there's a talent issue.
He needs traded. I don't think there's a talent issue. I feel like the last 4 years of his career have shown us that it's not a talent issue.
To be fair, I mean, he wasn't particularly efficient in 2021. He got a lot of volume, but wasn't good on it.
Sam Darnold.
There's a specific reason I'm asking you this, Addison, because I follow you on Twitter. Would you rather have DJ Moore or Juju?
DJ Moore.
Who would rather have? I mean, Juju is washed. He had a good game this week, and that was good. But he's washed. He looks terrible. He's looked terrible all year. He looks slow. He looks, I don't want to say he looks fat, but he looks out of shape. It's not good. It's not good. He looks washed up. So
Addison, so you were taking, I guess, like offense almost to people like being that hard on Juju and not that hard on DJ Moore, right?
Correct. That was my stance on that one.
Yeah.
I don't think that the Juju hate currently is like all that bad. Like clearly, like I was a lot higher on Juju than the consensus. Wrong. And I own that. But like I also feel like at a certain point, when you look at DJ Moore, we haven't buried him. Clearly Tyler has. I think Tyler's obviously ahead of the curve.
Always.
For sure. But like the rest of the community is just taking a long time to like catch up to DJ Moore. And it's like, yes, we know he's talented. Yes, we know he's good. But at a certain point that like, you can't prop a guy up to be a borderline dynasty wide receiver 1 who's never produced a top 15 season in 3 or 4 years.
Addison, I think that this might be a case of living in a slightly different community. Like the community that you interact with, I feel like is a little different from the one that I do. The one that I interact with, I can tell you that I still have DJ Moore higher than they do. Because I am hearing about, how about let's drop DJ Moore. Let's trade him away for a third. Worthless. I mean, that's the community that I live in on Twitter. So I think the analysts are slow to move him, but your average dynasty manager has already moved him way farther down than I have.
Right. I mean, they're much more reactionary for sure.
And I'm considered generally, I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I think for your average dynasty manager, I'm actually pretty slow to react compared to what I hear on Twitter. But for an analyst, I'm one of the fastest. I'm one of the fastest to react. And, I don't know how I would rank the two of you on that scale. I'd say you're both slower than me, but that might not be a bad thing. It's just different.
I think we're both just like perfect reactors. If I had to put it in a word, yeah. Speaking of delusional, here's delusional Tanner. What do I do if I am 3-3 and don't feel like a true contender this year, but could be in the coming years? I'd be curious what do you mean by coming years there. My team is mostly young, and I don't have a first in 24 or 25, but I have mine this year and 2 seconds. This is difficult without specifics to give answers, but do you have like, just in theory, if you're looking at a team that you've got, it's 3-3, you feel like it's young, but you don't really believe in it. Man, no first in 24 or 25 definitely makes it kind of interesting there. But are you thinking about pushing all in? Like, are you thinking about like, I wouldn't trade your 23 first right here. This is not something I would do based on what you're saying. Any other thoughts for Tanner?
I mean, doesn't it sound like, I don't know, it's hard. You don't have your first in future years, so I don't know what you do.
Right.
I guess because if you don't win this year, then you don't have anything to look forward to.
Here's a specific question he has. Do I sell assets like DeAndre Swift or stay put and try to contend next year? Middle of the pack sucks.
I mean, I'm always down to try to, sell assets like Swift, but you have to get something good in return. You can't just sell him for the sake of selling him.
I'm trying to figure out what the best route to go with this is. Because it's like either you're not actually a contender and you might not actually be as much of a future contender as you might think. Well, I don't know. Without seeing your roster, I really don't know. Or maybe you are, just kind of got unlucky. Maybe you were the team that had Dak, and obviously you have Swift, who's been hurt for the last however many weeks. Maybe you were counting on some younger guys to kind of break out that haven't necessarily. Maybe you had high hopes for an Elijah Moore or a Jerry Jeudy or somebody like that, and so depending on how that goes, for the rest of the season, that could be how you kind of treat what you do in the off season. Because, we can certainly see that over the second half of the season, it could be an entirely different season for a lot of different people that gain or lose a lot of value. And, I don't feel like guys like DeAndre Swift, selling them now, I don't think would be any much different than selling them in 4 months from now, unless they tore their Achilles or ACL or something like that. Something drastic were to happen. But if all were to remain the same, DeAndre Swift is probably still a top 5 dynasty running back at the end of the season, to where your return will it might actually be better than what it is right now, because we would at least have seen Swift play, and we haven't seen Swift play in the last 4 weeks. So it might just be one of those things where you just kind of ride it out, play your best lineup, see what happens. Maybe you go on a win streak or not. And then maybe you can make a move for a cheap running back to contend, or maybe you go on a losing streak and then you're 3-7 and now you're just playing for a high 23 first and figure out what you're doing next offseason. It's a weird situation to be in for sure.
Talon jumps in here. 12 teams, Superflex, tiered PPR, start 11. Blowing up his team now, okay? Would you trade Godwin, D-Hop, Mixon, Goddard for an early 23 first, getting his pick back, a late 23 second, and Garrett Wilson? Good chance the first is 101.
Then do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. Yeah, getting Wilson back.
I still like Garrett Wilson. I
no-brainer.
haven't given up on Garrett Wilson at all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. D. Magoon punted this year and looking to build for next year. What are your thoughts on A.J. Dillon? Is he worth acquiring now for the chance Green Bay cuts Aaron Jones, save cap, and Dillon? I feel like we do this every single year with A.J. Dillon. Every year for the last 3 years, we're like, oh, they're going to get rid of him, get rid of Jones, and Dillon's going to be the guy. And it's not going to
happen.
Happened.
This offseason's like the actual first season for that, where Aaron Jones' current contract isn't really manageable, or kind of is, but they could save a lot of money, I'm not talking $4 or $5 million, that's piddly, but I forget what it is. It's 12 or 13 or 14 mil or something like that. They could save.
It's 20 that they owe him.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So this is actually the first offseason where that's actually a legitimate thing.
Yeah, no, they owe him 20, and he
What's
has
the
a
debt?
roster bonus due on the 3rd day of the league year, so it's either cut him or they're stuck with him.
They're going to restructure it. This we do this every year, though. This is Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams all over again, where we're just waiting for Jonathan Stewart to be the guy.
What if it's DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry?
I just don't think it is. I think this has just gone on too long now. In other words, I guess it depends on what the cost of acquiring A.J. Dillon is. But what are your expectations? I don't think A.J. Dillon is ever going to be worth an RB1. That's going to be where his value is. So I don't know why if you're rebuilding, I don't know why this is the guy you're going to get.
Yeah, I agree. It's not the guy I'd be targeting.
If you could throw a second at him and get it, then I'd do it. But
I'm fine with that.
Sure.
But I don't think that's happening even now.
Right.
That's the low.
10 teams start 2 QB. What should be added to Stafford and Swift to get Josh Allen?
A whole other first. I mean, that's what it would cost.
Stafford's, yeah.
Yep.
Stafford,
and I would do that. I would do that to get Allen. Like, I know it's 10 team, but it is start 2 QB. I would do it. Thoughts on if Terrace Marshall or Shi Smith can be anything in Dynasty moving forward?
My thoughts are, who cares?
If DJ Moore can't, why would they?
Okay, let me ask you something. Because I thought about this. Who would be successful in Carolina right now?
Devontae Adams?
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, I feel like we make a lot of we make a lot of excuses for DJ Moore when, like, Deontay Johnson, like, his first year with Duck Hodges wasn't bad. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I don't know.
It's tough.
Gary Russell, I have a chance to get Justin Herbert and Debo in a deal, but I am going to have to give up one of my rookie wide receivers in the trade. Which one should I deal? Burks, Sky Moore, Jahan Dotson, or Jameson Williams, 12-team PPR.
Oh, I mean, I'd give up Sky Moore.
Yeah, of this, Sky Moore, I think, is the easy one.
Yeah.
Let's see. 12-team. This is TJ Keen, 96. 12-team, Superflex, Kenneth Walker, Gabe Davis, late 23 first, late 23 third for Eckler, Amon-Ra, and an early 23 second.
Oh, man.
I mean, I don't really want... this is a weird trade. Because, like, I feel like the Eckler and Amon-Ra side is worth more, but I don't think I would actually make this trade. This isn't how I would use my assets.
Right. It's a weird, like I was trying to piece this up to make it make more sense in my head, and I just can't figure out how some of this. I think it's the Eckler Amon-Ra side.
I think so too, because, like, if I'm reading it right, you may only be moving back like 4, 5, 6 spaces.
Like, I feel like
in the 23 draft.
Would you rather have Kenneth Walker than Austin Eckler right now? Because that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I would.
Okay. If you at least agree that they're kind of close in Dynasty,
sure. Based on their age, sure.
Maybe they're a wash. The rest of it, it's Gabe Davis and Amon-Ra I'd so much rather have Amon-Ra.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's a late first and an early second, maybe they're only separated by 5 or 6 picks. That gets canceled out by how much more I want Amon-Ra. So it's just kind of like that's the side. That's the side to me.
Yeah, me too. Can I tell you how great it is? Like, Gabe Davis is the greatest thing I think that's happened to the fantasy football industry ever. Like,
I know.
He's so good. What he's doing. So right now, it's like whatever you want to believe, you can believe and feel strongly about. Like, he's got less targets than Zay Jones has receptions. Like, the same amount of games, which is crazy. He's tied with Juwan Johnson and Nelson Aguilar in catches. Tied with them. But also tied with Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase in touchdowns.
Yeah, well.
He's got 14 catches this year. 14! That's it.
Did I see? I think it was
that's the game.
Was it CD Carter who was just like he said something about, like, once again Gabe Davis scores way too many touchdowns to like be
worthy of love.
Worthy of fantasy or something like that. Once again, scores way too many touchdowns.
Love it. Is Skylar Thompson worth a stash in a Dynasty super flex?
I guess.
I'm not sure he showed enough to say look, if he's going to be the quarterback of a team that's got the quarterback proof Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on it, sure.
But he wasn't even good when he did that.
I know,
Plus, Teddy's back. Tua's
Right.
going to play this week. It's just nah.
I'd rather be stashing him than have Julio Jones on my roster.
Okay.
Cecil Fielder. We appreciate you, Cecil. 2023 mid-second and a 2024 second. Here we go. 12-team Superflex. Start 10 PPR. DK Metcalf or Khalil Herbert. 23 second, mid 24 second.
Metcalf easily.
Metcalf.
Yeah. Mark wants to know if it's time to move on from Dobbins. No, you're late. You're too late.
You're months late.
Yeah, way too late, unfortunately.
I got a first for him last week. I was so happy.
Lucky you.
How?
I know. I literally spammed offered it to everybody in my league and somebody took it. Sorry.
I feel like I've been kind of quiet on this show.
You have.
But I told the people
It's gonna
that,
change.
well, I told the people that if J.K. Dobbins did what I said he would not do and actually showed up for week 1 and then was healthy, then I would be very happy for him. But he didn't show up. He didn't show up for week 1. And then he has been horrible, absolutely horrible all year. Horrible. And now he is losing the job to Kenyon Drake, who is washed up a year ago. Why would we want J.K. Dobbins?
Tyler, I was told that J.K. Dobbins was back after his 2-touchdown performance 2 weeks ago.
Which he looked horrible in that game, by the way.
Yeah,
horrible.
He had
absolutely
22
horrible.
yards and 2 touchdowns or something like that.
J.K. Dobbins is, to me, is cooked. I think he terrible. Absolutely terrible. And I don't know what to do with him. I don't know what you do at this point.
How old is he?
23.
23. It's not an age problem.
I think he's still young enough for this to I do think this was a very severe knee injury, not simply an ACL. I think he's working his way to come back. I think he got into a little Twitter beef with Ian Rappaport and tried to come back maybe even sooner than he should have.
Yeah, but even if he does, there's another problem. There's no receptions in this backfield. The top Ravens running back has 6. It's a tie between Dobbins and Patrick Ricard. Have 6 receptions each.
That's always the problem with every running quarterback, though. But
it's not this bad. It's not that bad. That's a new low. That's a new level of bad. So that's not gonna.
4 of those come in one game too. So the other 3.
Yeah,
games
I mean,
Dobbins has played.
I don't care what came in how many games or whatever, but it's bad that the total number is so low. I mean, Miles Sanders has 11 catches this year. I mean, that's not great, but that's a little better. That's a running quarterback that people complain about.
So
not good.
You wouldn't rather have Wandale, right?
Well, I mean, I think in a couple of weeks we could be getting to that point. I mean, there comes a point where you have running back scarcity. It kind of is what it is. As you move down the ranks of wide receiver, realistically, there's typically, I would say about, I don't want to put a firm number on it because it doesn't quite work that way. There's about 30 to 40 wide receivers that I would say carry significant value. Wan'Dale Robinson is not in that group. But if he starts to prove that he is, he could be worth more than Dobbins very quickly. Whereas with running backs, there's usually 15 that carry a lot of value. And then it kind of really becomes you just want to pile them all on at the end. I usually skip running backs 15 through 30. It's very rare I have any of those on my team ever. I don't have any Aaron Jones, for example. Well, Leonard Fournette is the only one in that range I ever seem to have because he seems undervalued.
Why does it seem like we're so much more excited about Wandale than Tyquan Thornton?
Better prospect, better production. And People don't want to hear it, but better coach.
There are a lot of
I
questions.
don't want to hear that.
Wandale's profile too. I mean, it's not like it was some kind of a perfect profile. Like I think
production-wise, it's pretty perfect. I mean, look at the production. It's what else would you have wanted him to do?
Be taller.
Be taller. Okay, so sure, be taller. But the production is there. The production is there.
That's a great moment in the show history right there.
Be taller, so he could be your height, Addison, and then we'll see.
I mean, that wouldn't have been too bad. That's like now we're talking about Antonio. Brown
how tall do you think Wan'Dale Robinson is?
I think isn't he like 5'7"
He's listed 5'8",
He's listed
and I don't think he's 5'8".
Yeah.
I remember I saw it was like a video of him in training camp next to like a coach or something like that. He looked tiny.
But back to the Tyquan Thornton, Wan'Dale Robinson situation. Who would you rather have coaching your fantasy receiver? Would you rather have Bill Belichick or Brian Daboll? Who would you rather have right now?
I can tell you I'd much rather have Daboll than Matt Patricia.
Well, you don't want – I mean, Bill Belichick, I think –
Matt Patricia's been better than I gave him credit for.
Well, no. I mean, it's because he got a quarterback upgrade once Mac Jones got hurt. That's I mean, but he did. Bailey Zappi has been much better than Mac Jones. Mac Jones looked awful. I think that there's a possibility. There's a possibility that Mac Jones doesn't go back in. There's a lot of tension.
6'2", 183.
If you love
Tyquan Thornton is like Tyquan Thornton had no college production whatsoever.
I will say that
target share was 89th percentile. He almost 30%.
But Cal, you have to understand. I mean, I of course was in on Tyquan Thornton the whole time because he was second-round receiver that was completely dismissed by people. So as the draft capital snob, I was in on Tyquan Thornton the whole time.
If you loved Christian Watson, then you would enjoy we have Christian Watson at home in Tyquan Thornton.
But yeah, Tyquan Thornton's college production is awful. It's awful. He's a terrible he's a terrible prospect. But
his production looks very similar to Wandale's in the NFL right now.
Well, Wan'Dale Robinson is a far superior prospect.
I'm just saying, like I don't understand why we are
because they aren't comparable. They aren't comparable prospects. Wan'Dale Robinson is twice the prospect Tyquan Thornton never was.
Wasn't Tyquan Thornton drafted first?
Yes, because the Patriots made a stupid mistake.
Did they?
Yes. Yes, they did. If they had drafted Wan'Dale Robinson, I think they'd be a lot happier.
You're saying
I believe the Packers passed on George Pickens multiple times.
Real NFL scouts liked him better.
Also, Wan'Dale Robinson was picked first, by the way.
Oh, was he?
But where was the mistake? The mistake that I would say the Patriots made is that George Pickens and Alec Pierce went 2 and 3 picks after Tyquan Thornton. George Pickens, out of all of these, is by far the best prospect.
Oh, barely. He was 7 picks ahead.
Right, but George Pickens is a better prospect than Wan'Dale Robinson either. Like, I think that was the big mistake that both teams made. They should have looked at George Pickens and ignored some of the apparently unnecessary, ridiculous character concerns that were made up about him and gone with the better talent. But,
I like Thornton. I don't know. I'm just saying. I think that
he's just.
I think if you're excited about Wan'Dale, you're excited about some of these guys. Like, you should be just as excited about Thornton.
If you liked Christian Watson, you would love Tyquan Thornton.
But I do think that people dismissed Tyquan Thornton when they shouldn't have. But he doesn't seem, he has no ceiling to me. It's someone like the ceiling is being okay. And I just compared to Wan'Dale Robinson, who has a lot more ceiling. But I never understood why people were drafting there was a discussion. The discussion was like Danny Gray or Calvin Austin versus Tyquan Thornton. I never understood that was the discussion. It should have been a different discussion. He should have been in a higher tier, but Wan'Dale Robinson is in a higher tier than that.
How many miles did you run last week, Addison?
If I could have logged negative, I would have logged negative.
After I volunteered you to run for every
I would have ran a full marathon.
Mace wants to know 23-second for, I keep wanting to say Devery Henderson. Not Devery. Who is it?
Daryl.
Darrell Henderson, Pat Fryermuth, non-tight end premium, non-super flex.
Players.
Yeah.
Sure. Players.
Yeah.
Players. But I don't mind selling Henderson right now.
Oh,
I
I
think
mean,
you have
Henderson
to.
sucks and has gained a lot of value, so he's someone I would definitely sell. Fryermuth, not as eager to sell.
Yep.
Malcolm Brown
Fryermuth
rolled out of bed and got 7 carries. Like, they don't want to give Henderson the full
No,
load.
we
Like,
know this. We've been saying this for years.
yes.
But Fryermuth is not a sell for me at all. I mean, he, in the 4 games that he finished and like played the whole time, he averaged 7.5 targets a game.
He's the best tight end from the 2021 class. So
no, he's
not. There we go. How much fab for Sam Howell in a 14-team superflex?
Okay, let's reset this question. Why was Sam Howell on waivers in a 14-team superflex? Why are you just asking me this now?
Couldn't be in Addison's league.
Well, it's a big mistake. He should not have been on waivers in a 14-team superflex. Everything in a 14-team superflex is not going to be a better opportunity. Everything. He shouldn't be on waivers though. He shouldn't have been on waivers. It's a huge mistake.
I was gonna say because he's on waivers right now, it makes me think that you can get away with not spending.
No, you're not gonna be able to get away with it because now that Wentz is injured, now people are gonna start to think about it. But he should have been added a long time ago. I would go everything.
Add Heineke.
Apparently, what I've heard is that Heineke was rostered in most of these leagues.
Yeah. I wouldn't pick them up like last week or the week before or something like that in a bunch of leagues because Wentz was looking like Wentz.
Oh, I think Howell's going to go in sooner rather than later.
Heineke was the QB 16 last year. Like, I think he was actually not bad.
No, he was bad.
In a 14-team superflex league, the QB 16 is valuable.
No, he was bad for real life. For fantasy, he was fine.
Yeah,
for real life, he was bad.
It's a fantasy show,
I know. Right? But the Commanders, if he continues to be bad for real life, will remove him from the game and try out the rookie quarterback. That's what I'm saying.
But they're consistently saying he's not ready now. That's what they're.
I agree with you, but I think that what's going to happen is now that Wentz is out, Howell will prepare. They were using all the backup reps on Heineke, right? So now they will have. I think Wentz will be out longer than it will take Howell to be whatever you call ready to participate in a game. This next week is against the Packers and then the Colts after that. I think if it's 2 disgraceful performances, then I think on the next week against the Vikings, I think Howell goes in. If they lose 2 more games, they go to 2-6. I think Howell goes in against the Vikings on 3 games from now.
Do you think you could get a 23-second for Howell right now?
No.
I would take it if I could because I don't think Howell's the long-term answer. But you never know. You never know. You don't want to be on the wrong end of missing out on the quarterback who ends up being that guy because that's like the source of so much added value. Imagine if you had like drafted Jalen Hurts late in your 2020 rookie draft. Like how much value have you recouped from an early 3rd round pick? Now you have a 1st round startup pick. So if you hit on the right quarterback.
QB.
Scuba Steve is excited about D-Hop week. Okay. What is the most you'd buy him for if you're contending and the least you'd sell him for if you're rebuilding?
So in this case, I think now that Hollywood Brown is out, I think I can't imagine it's going to be better than what the hype is. Like it's going to be better than what people think it's going to be. So since I can't imagine that it's actually going to be better than that, I would just sell DeAndre Hopkins now before you see it. Because if you see it and he looks washed, it's over. He's 30 years old. If he looks washed, it's over. You'll never get anything for him again. You're just riding out the rest of his career. So this is your last chance. And I'm not buying him really. I'd look at other places to try to buy players. Selling him, I mean, I'd like to get. Can you get now? Originally I was saying you can get 1 second. Now you might be able to get a little more than that.
Right.
Now that there's more of an opportunity.
Could you get?
I don't think you want to see it because I don't think it's going to help. I think the expectation is that he's going to come in and be pretty good. So the only thing he can do is disappoint.
Which
I'd buy for a second.
Which is likely for a 30-year-old.
Well, I know me and Addison disagree on this because like I don't think he was good last year. Like his averages last year, like his fantasy points were held up by touchdowns, but his averages last year, 6.4 targets a game, 4.2 receptions, 57 receiving yards. This is like he was competing with AJ Green. Like this is like not, he didn't have like, and look, say what you want about like Robbie Anderson and Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore got 10 targets last week. Like I don't think he's just going to go away. Zach Ertz is there. Like he's got he's got to compete with him. I mean, like I just don't think I don't think he's the same D-Hop. Like I love DeAndre Hopkins. Like he is one of my favorite players to talk about ever because I think he's one of the smartest football players, smartest wide receivers. But I do not think we're getting the same level of D-Hop. And if you can sell him, I would sell him whether I'm contending or not.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be as bad as he was.
Why would he be better? Like what would hurt? Like, he didn't get hurt until week 9.
Well, we don't know how hurt. It seemed like he was hurt kind of the whole time to me. I guess we don't know for sure.
I'd buy for a second. If you're selling him, I want
I'm
a young wide receiver plus.
Tyquan Thornton. Zach says, do you guys think the Panthers trade DJ Moore? Only reason I can find myself holding on to him in Dynasty. This is why you have to sell him, because there are people holding out that hope.
Unfortunately, no.
I really hope they do.
I think they see him as like a core piece of their team.
I think he should go like punch a coach in the face and then they'll trade him the next day.
That would be funny.
Please, DJ, for the sake of you, just go up and like punch Steve Wilkes in the face.
We know it's not going to be Green Bay. They literally, the biggest move they've made is go to get Randall Cobb. Like it's not going to be them. Kansas City Chiefs, like we wanted them to go draft a great wide receiver. They didn't go get any of the guys we wanted them to. Like, I just don't think the teams are building their franchises this way right now.
I see, like, so when you said that this is why you trade him now because there are people holding out hope, like, I feel like I'm one of those people holding out hope that he's going to be traded, but I'm not paying extra for that. Like I want to buy DJ Moore, but that's because I think DJ Moore's price right now is super, super low. That like people are like, will you please just give me a second round pick that's going to be the 209 for DJ Moore?
No, no, I can't sell him for that.
Right. But that's how I feel like people like there's a lot of people out there that feel like they want to do that right now for DJ Moore. And that's when I'm going to be buying. I'm not paying a first. I don't honestly think you can sell him for a first right now. But yeah, it's just if you have DJ Moore, I just can't really imagine an offer coming across to you right now that would make you want to sell him. So I'm just holding him, hoping that Sam Darnold comes back in and he gets, 8-9 targets a game like he did last year with Sam Darnold. And that will at least prop up his value a little bit. Because now, at least from a PPR standpoint, 5 for 60 isn't the worst thing in PPR. And it's definitely better than what he's doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe he gets traded. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe then the Panthers are so bad next year that they have a top 5 pick and maybe they draft a quarterback and that'll raise his stock. I feel like there's just so many different ways for him to gain value from what I think is like the lowest point he's ever been in his career right now that like I'm willing to buy in on that at that lowest point.
Could you trade him for Marquise Brown plus? Or do you think it'd be more like Marquise Brown?
No, I think you need to add to still get Hollywood right now, even with the injury.
Yeah, because I've got to do more in a couple places and trying to think of like what my plan is going to be, and that's Elijah Moore. Like I was thinking about like trying to find a trade that included Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I could see that. I feel like Tyler would probably say like go get Jameson Williams or something.
Oh, that would be a great idea.
Yeah. So
it's almost like we don't need me anymore. You could just talk about what I would say.
Tyler would just say, just go get Jameson Williams. Yeah. So there you go.
Similar to what Pato VM asked here about a good offer to get DJ Moore. So I pulled up the trade finder, and this is DJ Moore or Nico Collins, Josh Palmer, and a 23 second.
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore and AJ Dillon or Michael Pittman and Jeff Wilson.
Pittman.
Mm-hmm. There's not a lot so DJ Moore, Zach Ertz, Alan Lazard for Christian Kirk, KJ Osborne, and Darren Waller. It's pretty low.
Yeah. Like I would throw in like a second and maybe somebody who's kind of putting up points right now, but doesn't really have that sustainability. Like if somebody's competing, they'd really need a running back. Can you trade DJ Moore and Darrell Henderson for DJ Moore, or a second and Darrell Henderson for DJ Moore? You know, Jeff Wilson in a second for DJ Moore. That would be what I would try to do.
Is Chris Godwin and J.K. Dobbins enough to tear down from Josh Allen to Herbert in a 12-team Superflex?
Yes.
Both of them, yes.
Both, yes.
Yeah, no doubt. That's not, I mean, that it is like a small step down, but I don't know if that.
It's a step down, but.
You don't hate it if you got Herbert as your QB1.
No, I don't hate it.
There we go. We looked at that one earlier, but yeah, our patron. AC 12-team 1QB PPR Dynasty was offered Dak for a 23 likely 201, 24 or 25 third, and IDP I'll equate to an early third. Whew, my QBs are Russ and Wentz.
It's a lot. Honestly, I wouldn't even give that up for a QB like Dak and 1 QB. I'll take the package.
Yeah, and if it's IDP, maybe I don't know how that really changes things, but maybe if one or two linebackers really it gets slid into the first, you know, that bumps somebody else down better.
I mean, you're trading Dak. You're getting Dak, and you don't have to give up a first round pick. Oh, it's 1 QB.
1 QB.
I'm sorry. What? Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, never mind. Hoping to use a 201 to draft a QB, but might be worth it for Dak. No, I think they're right. Don't do it. Would you trade Javonte Williams and a first for Breece Hall?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I think so.
So easily.
Tough. But yeah.
No, it's not tough.
Ed is not looking to acquire Dobbins. Yeah,
I think we talked about him enough.
These guys don't like him. I love him.
Oh, whoa. Don't lump me in with Tyler.
Look, if you don't have him like close to Wandale, I don't think you love him.
Oh, well, you didn't know how I love Wandale before.
This is how fake news gets started.
Yes. These guys hate it. Adam Bishop, 12-team Superflex, half PPR. Pitts, McLaurin, Dobbs, 23 second, probably early for Chubb, Brady, Waddle, Fournette.
It's a lot of players.
I'm taking Waddle. Yeah. It's pretty easy too.
I guess so.
Chubb over Dobbins.
Yeah.
Fournette over Dobbs.
Yeah.
Waddle over McLaurin in a second. Pitts and Brady, sure, but it's super flex. But yeah, but like all the other stuff, like every other player is a massive upgrade.
I'll take the Waddle side. Sure.
I love Waddle. Trading Mooney for a 23 second right now.
I mean, I have a feeling this is another one of those player for second trades where if you put it in a trade calculator and a 1 QB, it would tell you Mooney's worth more. And if you put it in a super flex, it would tell you the pick is worth more. And I'd probably go with that.
This Chicago offense is historically bad.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And the people who, you see, all we need to do is talk about Nathaniel Hackett and the Chicago offense and who else? Juju Smith-Schuster. And then that wakes me up if we talk about those things. It's embarrassing. The Chicago offense is embarrassing. Justin Fields sucks. And I mean, he's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the league the last 2 weeks. And don't give me that he is doing well in fantasy. He is, I think 30% of his throws have been deemed uncatchable. Good quarterbacks complete 70% of their throws. 30% uncatchable. Terrible. He sucks. And he is going to find himself out of a job very soon.
I just think you guys needed to digest this stat. Okay, the Chicago Bears right now are on pace to attempt 325 passes.
It's not
That's an
good.
average of 19.2 per game. Last year, the Seahawks were dead last in the NFL at 29.1 per game. That's an
No, I'm aware of that. I've seen
passes.
I've seen this stat,
Well, I tweeted it out yesterday. This is listen, I went all the way back. You have to go back to 1977 to find the last time a team played a full season. This was a 14-game season and had less than 325 pass attempts.
And Justin Fields is lucky
because 1977.
That's
lucky.
An insane stat.
He's lucky because he's responsible for 7 fumbles this year, and he's only lost 1 of them. Imagine if he'd lost a few more of those, how bad it would be. 5 interceptions already, which sounds not so bad, except it's 5 interceptions on only 115 attempts. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. He is terrible. He is absolutely awful. And you can blame it on the offensive line for his 23 sacks that he's taken in 6 games, but he's running into half of those sacks. Awful. Awful. He's awful, and he needs to be replaced immediately.
He is not prepared this much in the NFL. Like they're trying to hide him, and you cannot hide him this way.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's been bad beyond the coaching. He's been bad beyond the coaching.
Yeah,
he's been so bad.
That's why they're trying to hide him. I'm saying you can't do it. Like, you can't hide him this way. Like, it's not going to work. And that's why Mooney is like, look, I know he got 12 targets last week, and I think there are people excited. So if I can get a second for him, I'm doing it. I'll find another way to win. I'm just out.
Wait, it's my turn for the stat. Darnell Mooney is 8th in the league right now in total target share, and has a higher target share than Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Stephon Diggs on effectively half as many targets.
Yeah. So much for
probably a lot about like the supporting cast.
So much
Chicago.
for the people who said that Justin Fields was going to take a second-year leap. I don't know.
What's a good asking price for Mike Williams? Would you Mike Williams or Elijah Moore? Dynasty.
Oh my gosh.
Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I don't like Mike Williams, so I'll take Elijah Moore.
I traded Mike Williams for Elijah Moore last week. That's why I said
nice.
That. Let's see. Let me find another one that might be. What about Treylon Burks or Mike Williams?
Mike Williams.
You said Burks, Addison?
Yeah, I'll just hit reset on the age.
What about Rashad Bateman?
That's really close, though.
Ugh. I'll take Mike Williams.
Devonta Smith?
Devonta Smith.
It's Smith easily for me, yeah. All right. What about Christian Kirk? You're a big Christian Kirk guy. Addison.
Me or Addison?
Addison.
I feel like I was the Christian Kirk guy first.
Yeah, Tyler was a Christian Kirk guy all offseason, then I jumped on board.
Yeah.
But I might be higher now.
I'll take Mike Williams.
See? Yeah, I'll take Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
West Coast Cheaper. What's up, fellas? 12 team Superflex PPR. I'm currently 11-1. Traded Najee away for a haul last week. Best running back is Jacobs now. Would you trade your 23 first for Henry? Thanks, guys.
Oh, no. Oh, definitely not. I'm not going to trade my 23 first for Henry.
No way. He's, how old is he? 29, 30?
28.
28.
January 94.
I don't think it has to cost you a first.
Shouldn't, but
And to me, you can get like productive running backs without, like, it would be so cheap to go get even like if you just need somebody as your RB2, like a Devin Singletary, even like I know that's not going to be inspiring, but like I don't want to give up a first to go get a 28-year-old running back, 29-year-old.
I always go for the cheap solution instead
Fournette.
of the expensive one.
Fournette, yeah.
Fournette is always the one I mention.
I feel like David Montgomery is a solid one as a cheap option. I feel like you could get him for a second. So I like that.
Interesting. I'm trying to see if there's
really not many other
can't
running
get
backs,
Stevenson at this point.
No,
Probably
that's
not.
Stevenson
Miles Sanders.
is Miles Sanders. For some reason, Miles Sanders just never gets any respect in my rankings.
Yeah,
I don't
That's
know
probably
why.
why you can probably get him cheaper.
Yeah,
I would guess. I thought he's having a great year.
I know.
it's pretty solid. He had like 70 and a touchdown, I think, yesterday.
Yeah, let's see. He's
nice.
the RB10 right now in PPR.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just I never seem to be able to trust him. But maybe
What's
I
the
should.
value of the projected 23-101?
Well,
Your
how high do
firstborn
you
child.
Everything.
How high do you have Jonathan Taylor right now or Breece Hall? Because
Yeah,
that's
your firstborn child.
Yeah. It's everything.
Bijan's coming in as the RB1.
That is going to be like, we're going to spend so much time all off season, like discussing trades for the 101. You guys know that, right?
Yeah.
Like that's going to be such a popular question.
Yep.
Oh, that's exciting. I'm excited to hear that
Me
the
too.
show will still be doing the show in the off season. I love it.
12 teams, Superflex, middle of the pack, can't sell CMC. What are you accepting for him?
Any first.
Oh man. No, you see,
Mainly
I think you can do better by going for players. Could you get depressed assets like Jameson Williams and Hollywood Brown? I'd rather that over a single first. Both of them combined.
You lost me at Jameson. That's going to be an interesting one to watch.
Yes, but the most important part, Addison, is not how you're lost, but it's how you're found.
That is true.
This is what they pay me for.
The prodigal son did return.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, this is a kind of thing where it would be nice to know what teams might be interested in CMC and what potential pieces you could acquire. Because, like I said, I'm kind of looking to maybe package some more depressed assets, like players that are not producing right now. I mean, you could go for like Drake London in a second, Garrett Wilson, maybe in a second. Those guys are not really producing at the level.
Olave.
Those are a couple options. Olave, though, I feel like is actually producing more. So I feel like Olave is going to be harder to get.
He was hurt, so I don't know how much that would like last week.
Right, and he's about to come into a matchup against Arizona as the only healthy receiver. Just for the record, I have Olave for this week in start sit ranked at wide receiver 13.
Right.
So would you trade Christian McCaffrey for Deshaun Watson?
In Superflex, absolutely.
Superflex, yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Christian McCaffrey or Trey Lance?
Ooh. Christian McCaffrey, barely. But if I'm rebuilding and it's that or nothing, I would take Trey Lance.
Yeah. Can you get Lance and like maybe they have one of those depreciating assets?
But that's definitely a thing where if I'm rebuilding and it's that or nothing, I'll take Trey Lance.
McCaffrey or
that over
Williams.
No. That's not one
Williams.
where that's not one where
stop asking me Javonte trades because you know what the answer is.
Yeah, that's not one where I'd say that or nothing. It would have to be Javonte plus. I just wouldn't take it otherwise. FF Lefty has a super chat, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
My people with a heart. Thank you. I very much appreciate that.
Dustin Oz, thank you, FF Lefty. Did you have? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Tyler.
No, I was just appreciating that. That was it.
Dustin Oz evening, 10 team Superflex Titan Premium contending, traded a 23 second and a 23 third for David Njoku. Feel I either overpaid for a few hype weeks or got him cheap at the beginning of a breakout with no in between.
I'm going to disagree on the with no in between. I think it's just fine.
Titan Premium is helpful because if he's getting 5 or 6 receptions a game, then that's
No, but I just disagree with the no in between. I think it's the in between. Exactly the in between. So
he is 0.6 points behind TJ Hawkinson.
Okay, but that's still not that exciting then.
Well, yeah, no, that was aimed at Addison.
Wasn't I the TJ Hawkinson truther?
This goes
this season, yes.
This goes
Last
back
season
to
it was
the show
me.
we were on.
No, it was still
last
me.
year.
I was like TJ Hawkinson obsessed. Oh, here, Addison. We have our first dating site.
Oh,
my show was derailed yesterday. Even on my channel, my channel is big enough to be the dating sites
found by dating sites.
Yeah, they come in and try to advertise in my live chat. But on my show,
they're trying to say that like fantasy football people are like lonely. Is that what that like? This feels like.
Hey, I mean, look, I will say that
dating site people.
2 of the 3 of us are married, and the other one was married. So, like, not that lonely.
How much fab for Tyquan Thornton out of 100?
In redraft? Not sure I'd pick him up.
Oh, in redraft? No, he's not worth picking up.
It depends. It depends on who's on waivers. It always does, but I'm not spending any amount of significant fab on. I'm not spending any amount of significant fab on a relatively irrelevant wide receiver. So 0. But pick him up if, I'd rather have Wando.
Tyquan Thornton has the same fantasy points as Treylon Burks.
Well, I don't care. And I wouldn't want Treylon Burks in redraft at all. He should have been dropped. Unless you have an IR spot for him.
I think, yes. I'm not saying I'm going to go out and spend all of it.
You
but
have like an obsession here.
Dude, I thought he looked great.
Okay.
And that's
you have like an unhealthy obsession.
12 team Superflex PPR, get Breece Hall, give Waddle and a 23 first late.
I don't think I'm doing this. I get it, but I think I'll pass. Like if this is like
not how I play Dynasty.
If this is like it's not how I play Dynasty either. If this were like the 2020 class, I mean, remember the 2020 class, like Javonte Williams was available and Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith were available at 110, 111, and 112 a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you pick Jalen Waddle at 111, like could it be that kind of class again? So no, I'm just not taking the risk.
She's wants to know if they can drop Dobbins. No, not in Dynasty.
Well, I assume this is a redraft question. In a redraft question, I still think you cannot drop J.K. Dobbins, but you cannot start him. You cannot start him next week. I have J.K. Dobbins at running back 31, so that's outside of startable range.
And his knee's acting up, so I mean, like it's very possible that Kenyon Drake is going to start this week.
Yeah, but you're not. But you can't start Kenyon Drake because you don't know. If you don't know, and you're not gonna know. You don't know, and you're not gonna know.
You don't think you're gonna know by game time if Dobbins?
I don't, because if Dobbins doesn't play at all, then you can start Kenyon Drake, but you're not gonna know. My guess is it's gonna be. Did you know that Melvin Gordon was gonna be apparently taking a nap on the sidelines? I think it's gonna be like
an injury though. This is different.
Oh, Melvin Gordon was injured too, but he says he was healthy. I don't know what the coaching staff was thinking, but I do think this is a kind of thing where Dobbins is going to be active. Dobbins is going to say that he's good to go, and we're going to have no idea whether it's just going to be Dobbins is going to get 15 carries and Drake is going to get 5. Drake is going to get 15 carries, or Dobbins is going to get 5. Gus Edwards could still be activated this week. John Harbaugh said Gus Edwards is close to coming back. You cannot start either one this week because you're just not going to know. You're risking nothing. You're risking 0 from whoever you play. You can't start either one.
Speaking
the
leading
Baltimore Ravens rusher
is Justice Hill.
Like in a single game, the most a running back has gotten from the Ravens this year was 13 rush attempts. And then they're 13, 11, 10, and then nobody else has had more than 8. That is the season high in one game given to one running back right now. So,
yeah.
Well, their best running back has yet to see a down. I love Gus Edwards.
Yeah. I will say it's kind of crazy, but the Ravens are 3-3.
Yeah, they lost some really bad games too.
Mitchell Grady asking price for Mike Williams 12 team super flex. So I pulled up the trade finder
already, but the trade finder.
Mike Williams or Josh Reynolds in a 23 second. Williams or 2 seconds.
Williams
still.
barely.
Williams in a super flex. Williams and Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. I don't want washed up quarterbacks on my team. Did you see the video of Russell Wilson walking in the tunnel? Do you see that?
No.
Not one. His one teammate actually acknowledged him. One. It was Jerry Jeudy. Everyone else ignored him. It's like he wasn't there. It's like they all hate him. Let's also look at the picture that was posted on Twitter. 3 different plays. Receivers wide open. Russell Wilson not looking. Doesn't notice.
Odell Beckham's dad is back on Twitter.
Doesn't notice wide open receivers.
No.
All right.
Wait, it gets better. One last thing. And I tweeted this. We live in a world in 2022 where Latavius Murray had as many carries as Russell Wilson had completions. That was the Broncos' game plan yesterday. And they lost. Again, I don't want Russell Wilson. He's washed up. And in 2026, the Broncos will have the pleasure of still requiring $31 million to cut him. 2026, they'll owe him $31 million. So they're doing just great.
Oh, wait.
Sorry, I just hate Russell Wilson. I hate him. It's like, if you want to talk about my new...
I couldn't tell.
Oh, if you want to talk about someone who's come... he is... His whole team hates him. So why should I like him? Doesn't matter because he's not going to play this week. Now he has a hamstring injury to add to the shoulder problem.
Let's see. George Kittle or Hollywood Brown?
Ooh. I mean, if it's not tight end premium, I'll still go with Hollywood Brown. Kittle really has been a disappointment. What do you think? I mean, I guess all tight ends have been a disappointment.
Yeah, pretty much. Ed says he wouldn't drop Dobbins, but if he has a decent game, it's past time to move him. Yeah, I think that's a Ed's thinking from a dynasty standpoint, which
I mean, even in redraft though, you can't drop a running back who might be a starter without any injuries. I mean, we could just 2 weeks from now, he could just be the starter again. You can't drop. It's just not how redraft works. You don't drop players like that. But you cannot start Dobbins. You're going to have to miss the first week he's the starter. You're not going to be able to start him until you see it, because you want 7 for 15. You're not going to get any reception. 1.5 points is what you're risking if you start.
I kind of wonder if Gus Edwards, when they activate him from the pup, if they
that could be a new disaster.
Do an IR stint for Dobbins. And that, I kind of would hope that, actually.
Well, then you could drop him.
12-team Superflex. I'm 1-5 rebuilding. Trade Breece for Javonte and a 24 mid-first. No. No way. You can get more than this.
It's not good enough. If we were talking, I mean, I can't imagine in a rebuilding situation I want to trade Breece, but let's say I did. How about it would need to be Waddle and a 24 mid-first or something, like CeeDee Lamb and a 24 mid-first. Now we're talking about something, but a running back already who has a major injury and a first in 2024, that won't cut it. It's not good enough.
Matt wants to know JMO or Rondale and a mid-second.
I'll take JMO for sure. Actually,
dude, Rondale. Oh my gosh. Rondale Moore. He had 10 targets and 49 receiving yards.
Rondale Moore, I don't think is really going to be anything.
He would have needed 20 targets to get.
To be fair, Rondale Moore was about to be relegated to irrelevance before this Hollywood injury. I mean, if Hollywood had come back, then there would have been no targets. Hollywood had been there and Nuke had come back. There would have, with Ertz still in his role, Rondale would have been relegated to nothing. So the only reason Rondale still has value is because of the Hollywood injury. Now, I do think Rondale Moore is going to provide you a sell window. This is it, by the way. Let's take this. But this is the kind of deal I would look to get done.
Which Moore, and who was blaming Moore for
me? Probably blaming DJ Moore for his poor performance this week.
Just at some point, like
At some point, you would think a really great wide receiver would manage to do something.
Or maybe
Something,
it's just not
anything.
going to happen, right? Like
anything, any play. I mean, any big play, anything exciting all year, but nothing. I mean, it's not just this game; it's every game. So
we worked really hard to not blame Allen Robinson last year. How'd that work out?
Poorly, but I don't think DJ Moore is washed. I just feel like we need to readjust our expectations of how good DJ Moore actually is.
Yeah, I think he's a good wide receiver. I just think like sometimes this kind of thing happens. I can't see Carolina wanting to get rid of him. I just can't. Like,
no,
maybe
why
they
would
do.
You?
I just can't see them wanting to get rid of him. And then I just also think
they can't get rid of him anyway.
They're incompetent to be able to get a quarterback for him. They've tried 4 years in a row with different quarterbacks, right? Like,
I mean, unless they were going to get a first-round pick in return, I mean, they would take a massive dead cap hit to get rid of him. I mean, massive. So,
thing is, it doesn't matter who we blame. Like, it's not good for your fantasy team. What he's producing is not good for you. Yeah. So, who cares who gets the blame?
Well, we want Sam Darnold to come back in. I think Sam Darnold would give him some hope.
But like, that just shows how desperate it is that we're like, please let Sam Darnold come be his quarterback.
Well, I was right about Baker Mayfield being horrible. We can talk about that.
In a 14-team, 1 QB dynasty league at this point, would you rather slot Kenneth Walker in the 23? Oh, okay. Where would you slot him? Okay.
Yeah, so we probably lost the person who would be Addison. I think is taking the rest of the night off, so it's just the two of us. Addison would know this better than either of us.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's not really an answer to this question. But I have Kenneth Walker right now as the Dynasty RB6. So high is your answer.
Which doesn't include 23.
It doesn't include them, but like I value him as Dynasty RB6, so pretty highly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would it would need to be an early first for me to move him. Pretty early.
Oh, really? So you've got like you weren't even willing to take you were willing to trade him for any first. But like this last week, I guess you're like, okay,
things change. I mean, things change. He comes in and he's a workhorse. That didn't happen before, so that changes things. Like people always say, like, oh, I'm quick to adjust to things, but it's never a given that someone is actually going to produce. It's not given.
Of course. I mean, I've been high on Kenneth Walker, and he started off like shot out of a cannon with his first 2 runs, but like he didn't follow it up really with very much after that.
I'm not super concerned about that.
I just think we'll see. We'll see. In other words, I don't think he's like solidified himself. Like
I'm more
enough history for him to have solidified himself yet, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, he had 21 carries. I'm really not. That's pretty good.
And I do like
a rookie.
I just don't want to overreact. I want to properly react.
Also, like Rashad Penny is gone. He's not coming back. It's not like he's coming back in a couple of weeks. Like the Ramondre Stevenson, Damian Harris situation. Like Damian Harris is going to come back. And I think when Damian Harris comes back, that's going to be a committee, although it will probably favor Stevenson more than it had. There is nobody coming back. There is nobody coming back. This is how it's going to be. This is it. So this is the Walker you're getting for the rest of the year. And I'm probably moving forward. Because if this is for the rest of the year and it goes like it has in the last 2 games, I don't know why they would move away from it. He's been good.
What's the move with Cam Akers at this point? Droppable or just hold?
In redraft, honestly, I think you can cut him. In redraft, you can cut him if you need the spot.
Yes, absolutely.
Because, I mean, it depends. I mean, he's really, in Scott Fishbowl, I wouldn't cut him. But like, just because of who you're adding in that kind of league. But in a regular redraft league, 12 teams, 15 roster spots, he can go.
So if let's say redraft, let's just if he's on, would you cut him for Kenyon Drake?
Oh, I think I would have to. Yeah, in redraft, it is what it is. You need players.
Would you cut him for Wandale?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'd rather have Wandale than Kenyon Drake.
How about for Tyquan Thornton?
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah, I really like
I don't think you need to roster Cam Akers in redraft unless it's a very deep league, like Scott Fishbowl style league.
The thing is, it's hard to imagine a scenario where whatever is going on, where you can't work it out and figure it out where he is, what's going to change that all of a sudden it's going to be able to be worked out and like where you have full confidence.
I mean, Latavius Murray just walked into the Broncos and suddenly became the starter. So like,
yeah, but there's something else going on here. And we don't know what it is. So it's hard to speculate, but like something else is going on. Like I can't think of whatever else it is. That's like, he's never playing it down here again is just going to be fixed somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't know. But whoever acquires him would have traded something to get him. So they're not just going to put him on the, you don't trade a pick for someone and then just send them to the bench.
Sure. Let's see. Okay, some back and forth here. TJ Keene, 96, full rebuild, 12 teams, Superflex, trade Jacoby Brissett, Khalil Herbert, and Damian Pierce, and got a mid-23 first and third and Howell. Not bad.
It's not bad.
The only piece of any interest here is Damian Pierce on the other side,
yeah,
right?
It's not bad. I think I would take the mid first still.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be by far, when we make that pick, is going to be by far the most valuable asset in this trade. Brissett is a dying asset. Khalil Herbert, I think, is just a backup, unfortunately.
Yep.
Even though I like him, I think he's just backup.
Maybe wants to know if you would trade away DK and Hopkins for Jalen Waddle.
For sure. This is very meh to me. I actually feel like you can capitalize more on DeAndre Hopkins than this. Like, I'd rather have Waddle, but not by much. Waddle and DK are still in the same tier for me. Waddle's had some inconsistency also. And, DK could still get the quarterback situation fixed. The age difference is only a year. So, yeah, it's fine. But maybe you can do better with Hopkins.
What's his value in a 1 QB league?
I mean, quarterbacks are really not worth much in a 1 QB league, especially not Tua, who's the ceiling is just not there, really. So, not much.
Like, would you trade him for like Michael Thomas or somebody like that? Like somebody.
Yeah. I mean, I have Michael Thomas ranked higher in a 1 QB.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
How about Saquon's value?
Now? I mean, Saquon's worth a good amount.
Yeah.
So yeah, multiple firsts.
Mm-hmm. He's really bounced back a lot. Keenan Allen, man, he's
Keenan Allen. I think is washed. I think Keenan Allen's done. I don't want 30-year-old who can't come back from an injury. That tells me that player is it's one thing to have a player in their prime who has a bunch of injuries. Maybe that player can come back. You're injury prone until you're not, but a 30-year-old already struggling with injuries, that usually means it's over. So, no real value for me on. I guess he has some value, but I'm not even sure I would pay a second to acquire Keenan Allen. I think Mike Williams is the one there, although wildly inconsistent. And it would help if Justin Herbert were actually playing a little better. He looked badly hurt last night. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
He was throwing sidearm. I mean, I don't know what was going on there, but this rib issue is far bigger than they're saying.
I agree. Would you, if I had Keenan Allen, would you trade him, try to find a contender maybe and try to trade him for, could you get Treylon Burks?
Oh, I mean, that would be nice, but I don't think you can.
Yeah, I think something like that, or I don't know, Wandale plus maybe.
I think Keenan Allen is a cap casualty this offseason. They can save $15 million by cutting him. And I just do not think, I think you're better off with the $15 million and spending it on someone else than a 31-year-old Keenan Allen. He's going to have to take a pay cut if he wants to stay there. They're not going to pay him $21 million cap hit against 6 dead. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to come down probably, and I do think there's a possibility that they work it out, but he's going to have to come down to 12 or 13 million. Otherwise, they're just going to cut him.
Michael's team is 2-4. Superflex 12 team. Give Lamar and B-Rob get Tua plus Waddle plus a 23 first.
Okay, this is just excessive. I mean, I love Lamar, but
yeah,
I don't think I can pay maybe Tua and Waddle or Tua and a 23 first. Those are reasonable, but not Tua, Waddle, and a 23 first, even with Brian Robinson in there. It's too much.
Henry lost Lance and only has Tannehill in a 16-team tight end premium league. Would you trade Lance plus Dobbins or Lance plus CEH for Herbert or Hurts? Yes.
Yes, I would.
Yeah. If I could trade Lance and Dobbins and get either one of Herbert or Hurts, like I mean, Lance is like best case scenario in that Herbert or Hurts.
I mean, I assume this is a what,
anyway, right?
But even so, like Hurts is, I don't know. Jalen Hurts is really starting to.
In a 16-team league, like that's still a good advantage if you got one of those top tier quarterbacks right now.
Yeah, it's worth a little more in a 16 team.
Let's see. Not the one we just did. Okay. Give AJ Brown plus Pollard plus Trey McBride. Get Gabe Davis, Gallup, and a 23 first, 23 second, and Bellinger.
I mean, yeah, like the second and Pollard are worth about the same. McBride is worth a little bit more than Bellinger, but not that much more.
Not a ton. Yeah.
Yeah, not a ton. So
I might prefer Bellinger even. Like
I prefer McBride is so much of a better prospect that I think I would prefer McBride, but I understand it. Outside of that, then but let's say it's around the same.
Mm-hmm.
Davis, Gallup, and that 23 mid first for AJ Brown. That's not far off.
I just wish it wasn't Gabe Davis.
Yeah, I don't mind Gabe Davis, but how confident are we on that 23 first landing spot? Like if there's how middling is it? Like, is it mid to late, mid to early? I think that's going to swing me here. Because I think it's the kind of thing where I'm looking back on this. If that 23 first ends up being 103 or 104, I'm going to prefer that. That's going to be worth almost as much as AJ Brown by itself. If that 23 first ends up being 108, then I'm probably going to prefer the AJ Brown side. So it's really going to depend on, and that's going to be my answer to a lot of these 23 first trades that are close, is really you got to nail down what you think that 23 first is going to be. And obviously you can't know, but you can guess. So that's my answer here.
Aaron wants to know, in a 12-team, 1 QB rebuilding, but it looks like I can compete next year. Thoughts on trading for Drake London? I have 323 first, an early, mid, and a late. Is London's value down due to that awful Atlanta offense?
Okay, so the big thing is that I don't want to trade away my picks now if I'm rebuilding, because picks don't get hurt and players do.
Mm-hmm.
So that pick cannot get hurt. The pick is not going to lose value. It's going to gain value every day until the moment you make it. So now I would try to acquire Drake London, but probably not using picks. If you have older
I don't
players.
know. Like, whoever drafted him would have taken him at like the 102, and like, so it's very likely that whoever has him isn't competing necessarily. So it's hard to find the right
picks
trade.
Are traded, players maybe for value. Right. Like, that's, you never know who has what. And I always dislike when people say that, because it's
I'm just saying, like in other words, like it's going to be a subset of leagues where he's going to be on a team that's competing. And
I assume, if we're asking about it, that Drake London is probably on a team that might want to trade him away.
Right, but for a first, and we agree, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, so then probably not.
When I was thinking, okay, well then what else am I going to trade him for? And it's like like you're trying to trade with somebody who's got the same goal as you, which makes it hard.
Well, then it's probably hard, yeah, but we don't know.
Well, I can read Aaron's mind.
I'm sure you can.
New York Fire Exchange. Thoughts on Cam and possible landing spots?
I can't even really speculate on that, to be honest with you, because I talked about this a little bit on my own show, and it inspired a little bit from Hutch as well to talk about it on his show, and then a little bit together. I didn't really come up with anything. Like, there really isn't a good spot. I mean, where would we tossed around a couple of options. I mean, I did actually mention the Giants as an option, but that's just backup. But I did mention the Giants as a team. They really don't have a backup running back at all as a team that could use him. A Christian McCaffrey, Cam Akers swap has been discussed so much. I don't think that's actually going to happen.
No.
So then, I don't know. I mean, where could he really go? I mean, Denver again, maybe. That Denver was the one I think that came up a good amount. Oh, the Ravens, I guess. They don't really need him.
I think you have to think about what front office is potentially going to make a move like this, and it's just so
It's going to be a
hard
team that's
think.
winning. I mean, the Eagles are 6-0, but do they really need another running back? They don't even
Doesn't
use
feel like
their
the kind of
running
move they
backs.
would make.
No, it's the kind of thing Howie would do. I mean, he's an aggressive general manager. I mean, if he's 6-0, I mean, if he's aggressive, he's an aggressive person in his transactions. So I could see him doing it. I just don't think that running back is the position they would acquire. I think it might be something on the defense that they could go for to even improve their defense even more. Just running back, I don't think is high on their list. I do think it's the kind of thing where over the next couple of weeks, if there's an injury to a team that really only has one running back and no good backups, then they could make a move. Although the Dolphins are a team, but Cam Akers doesn't really fit their running style at all. He doesn't fit their system. So maybe not them. There isn't really that one destination that you have like circled as like that makes the most sense. The Broncos would be the top choice. The one that makes the most sense because they're desperate. And running back is clearly an issue for them.
If you had Cam Akers and somebody offered you Ezekiel Elliott, would you take it?
Oh, I would. Yeah, I would.
Wow. I know. That's crazy. And correct.
How the mighty have fallen.
Right. Greens Point, Gridiron, 12 team, Superflex, full PPR, start 10. I just got Amon St. Brown, Ken Walker, London, and Eli Mitchell for Barkley, Fournette, and a late 23 second. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I would take the Amon-Ra side so easily.
Yeah, great deal.
Easily, yeah. I'd rather have Amon-Ra over Barkley even now. And I'd rather have Walker over Fournette in a late second, and then there's even other stuff. So, yeah, it's Amon-Ra side easily.
12 teams, Superflex PPR. What's a reasonable price to pay for Josh Jacobs?
I wish you had bought Josh Jacobs earlier. I mean, I did suggest it a couple of times. I threw it out there as a possibility. I think now it's too late. I think now it's going to cost a first, and I'm not paying it. So,
would you trade a 24 first for him?
No, I wouldn't. Okay, I just don't do that.
Yeah, he's still so young that you kind of look at it and you're like, all right, I can kind of talk myself into this a little bit, but
I just think it's risky. He doesn't have a contract after this year. Are they going to give him one? Maybe. Their transactions and moves say they don't want to.
Right. Would you trade Javonte Williams for him?
No, I wouldn't.
Local liability, 10 team, 1 QB, 2 and 4 with Breece. Michael Carter?
Michael Carter.
Okay. And there's the rest.
Okay, this is a very good team, by the way.
Yes.
It has Jefferson, Lamb, Debo, AJ Brown, and Breece. So all on one team. So that's pretty good with 323 firsts. So he's asking what moves he can make. I don't know. I'm kind of done building around running backs. You have the running back I would want to acquire, high-priced one I would want to acquire the most in Breece. I don't know. You could target Fournette is the one I've said a lot. Could you toss a couple of seconds at Fournette to go for it? Or you're 2 and 4. So I don't know. Maybe you just don't go for it. Maybe you just kind of relax. That's probably my advice. I don't think I'm acquiring running backs if I'm 2 and 4 with this team.
Could you trade a 23 second and gosh.
But why? You're 2 and 4.
It's a good team. I don't know. I guess I'd
it is a good team. I'm a little confused as to how it's 2 and 4.
Me too. It's a good team.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Eric, Hurst, rebuild, Henderson, or Rondale.
I don't really want either. They're both sell highs who have been given an opportunity. Their talent does not dictate that they deserve.
I like Rondale.
Yeah, but I think just the RB scarcity model of once you get past a certain point, you should stick with the running back would tell me that Henderson should be worth more. But it is a rebuild, so I mean, I guess if you're asking who would I rather hold on my roster for years, it's Rondale, but Henderson is worth more. So if you're looking at it that way, if you have Henderson now, then I would try to move him. If you have Rondale now, I would probably try to hold him or trade him for something other than Henderson. I don't want Henderson in a rebuild. Henderson is bad. Just because Akers was bad also doesn't mean that Henderson is good, because he's not.
Yeah, no, he's not going to get more than 12 carries, 13. Like, that's just kind of like his.
Now, I will say, I would pick up Kyron Williams now he's not on most Dynasty waiver wires, but I would. He's on a couple, and if he somehow is out there, I would pick him up, because if you remember, week 1, Kyron Williams was about to get some carries and got hurt immediately while Cam Akers was completely benched. I think the plan for that game was that Kyron Williams was going to be involved in the running back rotation, but we never saw it because he was injured on like the first play that he was involved in. Mm-hmm. So Kyron Williams is someone I would add, because I think that he will be the complement to Henderson when he comes back and could compete for that role eventually. So
I'd rather a second.
Henderson is very risky
than both, probably.
I agree with that. Sure.
Ridley Truther, London's 30% target share is sweet, but when it's off of 15 to 20 attempts, and it's not quite like, it's not as low as Chicago's, but it's not that far off. It's kind of
comparable though. It's
not that far off, right? But it's not quite Chicago. Who would you rather have, Waddle, Lamb, or London? Falcons are winning themselves. Yeah, Waddle and Lamb easy, I think, no matter what.
But I will say, players who come in and are successful like he was off the bat, who are drafted in the first round, who have the pedigree he had, those players almost always succeed. Almost always. It's rare that those players fail. Yeah, maybe like the floor for a player like that is what DJ Moore's career has been. And that is not bad. You had a zillion opportunities to sell DJ Moore for a king's ransom whenever you wanted. And he's produced multiple wide receiver 2 seasons. That's the floor for a player like this. These players just they don't fail when they come in with this kind of pedigree and have immediate success. So,
yeah.
But yes, I would prefer Waddle and Lamb, because they're the same, except they've already done it. They've already done even more. They're also players who were first round picks, also came in and succeeded immediately, and also have the high target share. Especially Lamb this year has raised his target share, even with Rush. Actually, I think Lamb is a buy and has been the whole time. Lamb is now back to my Dynasty wide receiver 3. Actually, he has quietly been very good. But Waddle as well,
I like to watch.
Waddle as well has been great. So these are all great players.
Very interesting point here about them taking themselves out of the ability to go get a top first round. Like, I think we've all sort of been thinking, oh, just wait till next year when Drake London and Kyle Pitts have a good quarterback. They may make the playoffs at this rate, right? Like, I think like this is a bad NFC. Like, when you get past the Eagles, like,
I think you have to think of it more. You get a Geno Smith situation where some team decides they don't want to have a real quarterback, and then he proves us all wrong, but whatever. You get a situation like that every once in a while. But I think you more have to think about quarterbacks as like a musical chairs game. Like, there are 32 seats, and, Marcus Mariota is not good enough to retain one of those seats next year.
But the point is, he's probably good enough. He's performing well enough for them not to end up with a CJ Stroud.
The point is that the seat may be filled by Jimmy Garoppolo instead of a pick in the draft, is the point.
I'm afraid it's going to be Jameis Winston. That's what I'm afraid it's going to be.
No, I think Jameis Winston is actually playing himself out of a 2023 job at all. And it also doesn't matter, because Jameis Winston is going to be on the Saints anyway. Jameis Winston is going to be on the Saints. They owe him $11 million dead versus $16 million live. So he's going to be there, I think. Even if he's not the starter, I think he's still going to be there. Because you're going to pay him $11 million to play for someone else? I don't think so. I think they would keep him even if they had another quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to trade for him. But yeah, to me, Jameis is on the outside looking in of that musical chairs game. I think he will not be a starter next year. Whereas the ones that I think will be are Jared Goff, probably in his current location. Although he's got to win a couple of games. But if he doesn't, I think Jared Goff will be a starter elsewhere. I think he'll get one more chance because he's been just good enough Carson Wentz got 3 chances. I think Jared Goff, who's actually been better, will get 3 chances. And Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, has been just good enough. Not great, but just good enough. And the Falcons seem like a perfect location for him. Get rid of Marcus Mariota, bring in Jimmy Garoppolo, and then you're in year 2 of Desmond Ridder. If Jimmy Garoppolo is no good, then you can move to Desmond Ridder relatively quickly. That would be what I think would be a good plan for them if they continue to win a couple of games. Here, we have this.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Deshaun Jackson, or thanks for the super chat. I feel bad that it's on this question. Deshaun Jackson or Gus Edwards? Deshaun Jackson.
Deion Jackson.
Deion, or is it Jacksonville defense?
I think this is Deion Jackson, the running back.
Deion Jackson.
Indianapolis.
Oh,
this is not Deshaun Jackson. Yes.
Interesting. To be fair, I think that Deion Jackson is only 23, so he's a pretty young player, but I'm going to go with Gus Edwards because I think Gus Edwards is Jonathan Taylor. When Jonathan Taylor comes back, yeah, it is Deion Jackson. I was like, because Deshaun Jackson did sign with the Ravens today. When Jonathan Taylor comes back, Deion Jackson is completely unusable. But there is a possibility that Gus Edwards comes back and with no more injuries is the starter.
But look, Deion Jackson, so he's hurt right now, and I don't know that we know the full severity of it yet. Like, I tried to find more information. Maybe you've seen it.
I got nothing. Yeah.
But I would like to know how healthy he is because he had 10 targets and caught 10 passes. I know he's not taking Jonathan Taylor's spot. Could he take Nyheim Hines' role though?
It's possible, and I don't have it ranked that way yet, but I've moved Deion Jackson high enough in my dynasty rankings that he should be rostered in all dynasty leagues moving forward. But Gus Edwards, though, I want to talk about Gus Edwards as he's the kind of player who does not need a new injury. Jonathan Taylor, I think, is back this week. I think it's been 2 weeks now with the ankle. I think he's back, and if he's not, I think Nyheim Hines I think it's actually possible they're both back. Nyheim Hines should be back from the concussion at this point.
Right. And Deion Jackson might not be healthy enough to play. We just don't know enough about that.
Yeah.
Yet.
But I will say Deion Jackson has earned the idea that he should be rostered in dynasty leagues. I saw enough in one game. He's only 23. He's now the running back 3 on that team and could challenge Nyheim Hines for that role in the receiving game. So he should be rostered permanently. But Gus Edwards, I think, has more immediate value for the rest of the season. So I would rather have Gus Edwards.
And I just love Gus Bus. We have another super chat. Can you pull that up?
Yeah, well, this is a $10 super chat, and we thank you for that. Feels so weird without Addison. Retooling for next year in a 10-team Superflex tight end premium. What is Goddard worth in picks in tight end premium? How would you handle? Ooh, okay. Rostering a lot of players. Goddard, Muth, Bellinger, Fant, Dulcich. Dulcich is an interesting one. I like him. Hurst, Gesicki, and Woods, Jelani Woods. This is a lot of players. I'm interested in moving Goddard, but you can't get a first. 2 seconds, I think, is in a tight end premium. I think it's the most you're ever going to get. So push for that.
Yeah, when you think about picks, 10-team,
you're not going to get a first. I mean, I think even in tight end premium, in Superflex tight end premium, I think are the only tight ends worth a first Pitts and Andrews. You're going to get a first for Kelsey. I don't think you can get a first for Kelsey.
Well, I'm going to try this week.
You can try, but I think the only tight ends worth a first on the open market, even in premium, are Pitts and Andrews.
I think you're right. I think
you're not getting a first for Kittle or Waller.
I think you have to go cross positional. You got to find somebody desperate at tight end. If they're starting Taysom Hill,
though. If you want 2 seconds, I mean, what is Waller? Not Waller. Goddard ever going to be worth more than that? I mean, he's already 27. I don't think Goddard is an ascending asset.
No, I'm just saying, if you can get Rashad Bateman or go cross positionally and get somebody somebody else.
You have maybe you can take advantage of that. But I mean, I'm not even sure in this format that Rashad Bateman is a huge upgrade over Dallas Goedert value wise.
Because you have too many tight ends here, dude. You've got to get rid of some tight ends. You cannot roster this many. I know you're make it exciting. And it looks like to me, based on who he's got on his roster, he really likes athletic tight ends. Look, I get
What's Hurst doing on there then?
Yeah, but Gesicki is off the charts.
Jelani Woods too.
Woods, even higher.
I will say Greg Dulcich is a thing.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
He is a thing. He came in and immediately was good. That's in week. How often does that happen? That a rookie tight end is good in game one? He
coming off an injury.
Coming off an injury in his first ever game, he played 71% of snaps and caught a touchdown. That's very rare for a rookie tight end. I mean, to give you some comparables, Hunter Long was drafted in the 3rd round last year, similar athletic profile and all of that. And he has yet to make the active roster for all but like 3 of his career games. And that was last year. So any playing time is impressive, let alone playing most of the game, let alone catching a touchdown. I mean, those are great things. So he's someone I think has a bright future. But yeah, he's not the one I would look to move. It is Goddard and Hurst, of course, I would like to move.
Yeah. Keep Gesicki, like keep him around, like have him be like your last guy. But so many of these projects in a 10-team league, like you're not starting these guys.
Bellinger is getting to the point where you actually might be able to start him.
Sure.
I have him at 16 this week. I guess you can start him.
All right. Thank you for that, Lounging Bear. Grant G, 12 team.
If it's a super chat, we'll spend longer on questions like that. That's a good way to get me to answer the like, how would you handle my team? I'll answer it if it's a super chat.
And we'll make Tyler read every single one of the names that you put up there.
It's true. Yeah. For a super chat, I will.
12 team 1 QB. I have stud wide receivers, Jefferson, Chase, Lamb, and Waddle. Congratulations. But garbage running backs, Javonte. Ugh.
I hear a lot of this a lot. Yeah. If you went hero RB with Javonte.
Yep. 3 firsts in 23 and 2 in 24. Better to melt down a wide receiver into a running back plus. Trade picks for running back. Stay patient. How do you handle this?
I would just, I don't know. I'm not doing that. So it's
me neither.
Answer.
You've done a great job of assembling like a great wide receiver core that you can keep together for a long time.
It's also the kind of thing where like Breece Hall is like one of the running backs in that higher range that I'll actually roster. But after him, maybe I'd consider Kenneth Walker at his price. But after that, it gets really ugly.
Lincoln was here, traded away Brian Robinson for Waller and Thielen in a Dynasty 1.5 tight end premium league. I did the trade to start the 3-headed tight end monster with Kelsey, Andrews, and Waller.
It's fine. I mean, the value, he's on the Waller side. But yeah, it's fine. And thoughts on Bellinger? I like him, but we talked about him a little bit.
Garrett Wilson, I assume,
it's gotta be Garrett Wilson, yeah,
or JMO in a 23-second.
Still Garrett Wilson.
Same here. DJ Moore only 25, says Freak Stomp 49er, who clearly is saying this to make DJ Moore want to accept a trade to the 49ers. Let's just be honest. That's the only reason why I say this.
Cup did not break out at 28, by the way. This is false.
No, Cup had, yeah, that's what
Cup was the wide receiver 4 in 2019 at 26. Wide receiver 4.
Also, if we're saying he's going to be 3 years from now breaking out, sell now and buy him 2.5 years from now.
Yeah. Also, Cooper Kupp is now in the middle of his 3rd season. That's better than any that DJ Moore has ever had. And yeah, I don't.
But look, it's true. He's only 25, and I think that's been the carrot for him, right? It's like, oh, he's so young. He's going to be, and I think it's just at this point, I'm like, I'll just find another way to win. Like if he's the great wide receiver, like I won leagues last year without Cooper Kupp. It can happen. Okay. Like I'll just find a different way to win. I'll cash out right now because I
essentially, yeah. I mean, Kupp's 2018 pace, 2019, and were wide receiver 1 level. So
Will has a 16 team start 8 last year's champs in first and at 5-1 most points, 0.3 PPR and points per
that's
first.
A choice.
Yeah, yep. Currently running out Tanyan, Conklin, and Albert.
Albert. Oh no.
Muth owner says he'd want.
I had someone tell me on Twitter that the Broncos should cut Melvin Gordon and Alberto, and I suggested that instead of that, they fire their incompetent head coach instead of cutting decent players. That was my suggestion. That they fire the head coach. I think they should have fired the head coach already, personally.
6 weeks in, man.
It's 6 weeks too long.
And it's hard to imagine that you're wrong.
He has been completely proven to be completely unqualified to be a head coach.
Don't trade a first for...
No, we're not trading a first for Pat Fryman.
We're
not going to do that in any format ever. Maybe if it's a start 2 tight end league, maybe then I would consider it, but not in a regular format.
Freak Stomp 49er says, don't forget to finger that like button. That's not the way I would put it. But,
that's not the way I would put that, but yeah, I appreciate the sentiment.
I think this is like the Chicago
pedestrian.
I think this is like offensive to pedestrians.
Yeah, this is the Tinder website from yesterday that was on my show. Tinders-hot.xyz.
Contending had decent running back depth with Jacobs, Etienne, Mostert to get me through the year, and got offered 24 first, Dylan and Burks for Chubb.
I'll take the package.
Me too. Carlos says, terrible take on Fields.
Carlos just doesn't like my takes today, but that's fine. I don't
think any of us were in on Fields though. Who said the
no, I think this was when I was ranting about how Fields sucks. But he does. He does. You know, people see what they want to say. People see what they want to see, but Fields is awful. And you know, he is really bad.
Is there a Wilson you would like to buy? Because I don't think you like either of the Wilsons, do you?
Oh, I'm fine with Zach Wilson. Russell Wilson, no. I don't want washed up 33-year-olds.
I assume this is for Addison, Penn State fan. But yeah, Bijan. Look, I don't know, but I know that Bijan is getting talked about in the same level as those generational type backs like Barkley. So
I think we're past the era in terms of draft capital where running backs will go in the top 5 picks like Zeke and Fournette and Bijan not Bijan, Barkley.
A crazy front office like the Giants.
Yeah, I think we're past that point. But I mean, let's look at the draft order for now. So Carolina picks first, but then we have Vegas, Detroit, Houston. That one. Houston at 4.
And
then Houston again at 6. But if we're talking about something more realistic, right now, like Arizona is at 9.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, would I like that? I don't know if I would like that.
I don't know if I would like it, but that's something realistic.
Everybody's gonna want it to be like Buffalo, and I'm gonna say like, why?
He's not gonna make it there.
Why?
Yeah, he's not gonna make it to Buffalo.
Let's see.
I think he's gonna go between picks 10 and 20.
Yeah, he should.
Yeah, probably more 10 to 15.
Seems like an Atlanta pick. I don't know why.
Atlanta's at 13. I mean, yeah.
Yep. Emerson wants to know, as a rebuilding team, what could I get Dalvin Cook and Cooper Kupp for? Maybe tear down from Kupp to Higgins.
Higgins is worth more than Kupp in Dynasty.
Yeah, so if you could do that, sure.
So Emerson. Sure. Yeah.
Yep. Keep hearing lately the 24 class is better than this is like the
every year like clockwork. It's the 22 class is the one that everyone hated. The only one that everyone hated was
everybody was very consistent on that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's the new thing I'm hearing. Yeah, Nicholas, I think that's what because like it's college
football. The 22 class also did not end up being as bad as everyone thought.
Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah.
But yeah, Breece Hall, Breece Hall, London, Wilson, and Olave and Walker have all kind of exceeded expectations to a degree. And Pickett is in earlier than I think people thought. Pickens has been also kind of a surprise. There haven't been too many like total letdowns, with Treylon Burks kind of being the biggest so far. But there's been more pleasant surprises than total letdowns in the 22 class.
Great job, Evan, getting a 23 first for Dobbins. I did that in one league as well.
Well, that's amazing.
And told someone to do this, to like just spam offer him for 23 first last week, and they got one accepted. It happens. Andrew, competing but aging team. Do you look to trade Diggs, D-Hop, Evans, Aaron Jones now, or hold? Let's see if trade. What
It's
would you?
so
I mean, this is
vague. It's so
yeah.
vague. I mean, competing. I don't know what your record is. I don't know what the rest of your roster is. I don't know who else. Like this. Yeah. This is
Trade D Hop. Find a good trade for D Hop.
yeah.
That's a good time to do that right now.
If you really want me to, I do help with this kind of stuff. I mean, this is what my Patreon was built for. And I'll put it in the chat if anyone is interested. You can click on that link.
B-Rob.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. B-Rob and Ayuk, or definitely check out the chat. That's a really good. Make sure you do that. B-Rob and Brandon Ayuk or Hollywood Brown.
I'll take B-Rob and Ayuk. Barely. It's tough. Hollywood's hurt. Robinson, I feel like could gain some value. I mean, this week we're coming up on a matchup with the Packers, whose run defense is suspect. To say the least. It's not good.
Would you trade Mooney for Elijah Moore straight up? Absolutely.
I'll take Elijah Moore, yeah, for sure. Elijah Moore is 3 years younger than Mooney and like twice the talent.
It says, take my word for it, dating sites. People who play fantasy football are swimming in date offers. We don't have use of your services. Thank you. Good job, Ed. Give Sutton early 23 first, late 23 first, or get Justin Jefferson early 24 second.
Man. Since it's one QB, I'm more likely to go for it than I would in a super flex. It's a lot riskier. And unless that first is the 101, I'm probably going to prefer Jefferson over that package. Because I don't think there's a second non-Bijan player where I would prefer. I mean, Jefferson's so good. So
he's so good.
Yeah,
you want to grab that super chat for us there?
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate a $9.99 super chat. I love it. All right. So Chase, Pitts, Watson, Deontay, 323 first, the only pieces with value. Battle for 101. We'll get 101 or 102. That's going to matter a lot in a 1 QB. Trade Chase and Pitts for more pieces because I have none. If so, wide receivers to tier down to from Chase. I wouldn't. If you're in a rebuild, just hold on to Chase and Pitts, especially because Pitts is losing value. Definitely not going to do that. You don't want to trade Jamar Chase in a rebuild. He's the kind of player you build around.
And Pitts too. I think Pitts is a good.
I agree.
Building around both of those players right now, and I think and look, you'd hate for that to be the difference between getting the 101 or the 102, but who are you tearing down from that's going to produce nothing for you?
Yeah, you don't want to do that. You're probably actually going to tear down to a bunch of pieces that'll produce a little more.
Right? Yeah,
so you probably don't want to do that. Deontay, you could just sell Deontay if you want to get the points off your roster.
Yes,
because Deontay is a sell for me. I'm scared of Deontay. I don't think Kenny Pickett is anything special, and George Pickens looks good. Pat Freiermuth also looks good. I think it's going to be. I don't think Deontay is going to be a wide receiver 1 in this offense. I don't think Deontay is all that. He's good, but he's not. He's situation dependent. He's not just an auto alpha. I understand, but it's Jamar Chase. You can't just sell him for less.
And the 102 is not going to be bad, by the way.
Jamar Chase
is rather one, but
I think I'd still rather Jamar Chase over Bijan Robinson. So he's that good.
Are we scared of Tua?
No, but he's not valued quite as highly as he was before. I'm not scared of him.
Hollywood or Tua in a super flex?
Tua so easily in a super flex.
Nicholas wants to know: can Keontae Ingram actually get on the field soon, please?
If he could barely get on the field this week, then the answer to that question is no. No, he can't get on the field. He's their RB4 when everyone's healthy. So no. Sorry.
Weston wants to know: in a 12-team Superflex PPR, start 9. My starting QBs are Russell and Mayfield. I have 5 23 first. Give Hall early 23 first. I don't like the way this is starting. Late 23
this is
first,
a bad start.
Early 23 second. Get Herbert.
And we're not doing any. We're not doing any part of this. We're not adding multiple firsts. I think you asked this yesterday on my show, and I said no. My co-host, I feel like, argued a little bit more with me, but I was one who said easily no. Seems like Cal might be with me.
Nope.
I am. We are not doing this. Next one.
Take this. Should I trade Kenyon Drake to the Dobbins owner, or is that a lost cause?
Well, you might as well try. What do you have to lose? Okay, I'm now alone. Yeah, I would try to get a third. I mean, you have nothing to lose. Yeah, I would try. Never a lost cause. All right, Breece Hall and pick 301 for Swift and Ayuk. PPR Superflex Start 10. Who won? I'll take Breece Hall. I mean, even without the pick, I would rather have Breece Hall over Swift and Ayuk. The difference between Hall and Swift is a lot. Hall is like 2 years younger, 2.5 years younger, and better. So yeah, Ayuk is not enough to bridge that gap, let alone with another pick. So Hall side. Then next, traded Cortland Sutton for a 2023 first. I mean, with how Russell Wilson has been looking, I think it's a pretty good deal. I would take the 2023 first over Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton's also 27. Not as young as I think people think he is. All right. Oh, you're back. All right. We're back to this. We're on this question now.
12-team Superflex rebuild Carr and Godwin for Lance, 24 first and a 25 first.
Lance, I think is worth similar to Carr, and then but in a rebuild, I'd rather have him. And Godwin is good, but probably not worth 24 and 25 first, even though it's farther away. I will say Jimmy G has kind of he's been just okay.
He's been Jimmy G.
Yeah.
He's been the reason why they went and got Trey Lance.
Yeah, but like there was a team in 2021 that intended to have Ryan Fitzpatrick as their starting quarterback. And Jimmy G is better than Ryan Fitzpatrick ever was. So I think we're going to be doing this again next year and again a couple more times with teams filling Jimmy G in as the starter for a period here and there because he is one of the best 32 quarterbacks on planet Earth. And he's not 32. He's like 20 to 25. But we know that's what he is.
Age-wise? Oh,
no.
Oh, gosh. I thought you meant age-wise. I was like, he's not that young.
He is 31, I believe. But he's not the 32nd best quarterback. He's like the 20 to 25th best. So he's like just okay, but he's going to keep getting jobs.
Agreed. Singletary and Myers or a 23 second, contending and looking for depth.
Oh, I mean, if this is what you have to pay, I'll take the players. Myers' career will probably be worth not that much less than a 23 second.
Yeah, Myers is okay. I mean, Tyquan Thornton is about to take over for him, but
yeah, I still have Myers a lot higher.
Weston by 12-team Superflex PPR start 9. We
did this already.
Oh,
this is in the ask it once category.
Yes. Henry says I was offered Barkley for my Ken Walker, Njoku, and my 23 first. Wow.
I will take Walker.
Yeah. Oh, so he's saying he wishes he had. Yeah.
So he has Walker now, but he wishes he took Barkley over Zeke in 23 first. I understand that, but now it's too late.
Right. Any chance Geno or Wentz are a starter next year? Speaking of the quarterback carousel, have these two Lance and looking for top 3 picks for 2023.
I think Geno is a nice story, but I'd say the chances of him being a starter next year are slim to none. And Wentz the same. I think the chances are slim to none. I think Wentz, once he got injured, it was over. I think it was over. I don't think Carson Wentz ever goes back in because they have that draft pick incentive and he has injury guarantees on his 2023 money, which they do not want to pay because they have zero, without that injury guarantee, zero dead cap on the rest of his contract. I don't think Carson Wentz goes back in, and I don't think Carson Wentz is a starter in 2023. So Carson Wentz to me is finished. So for him, I would say no. And then Geno Smith, I think it's a nice story, but I'm going to lean toward no as well.
Will you grab that super chat?
Yeah. I have 623 first, likely a top 3 and 3 later. QBs are Lance, Geno, Wentz. Only running back is Breece. Try to move Breece for an elite quarterback or gamble on 23 quarterbacks and Lance. I would not move Breece unless you could get Justin Herbert or Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, maybe. But no, yeah. I'm not rushing to move Breece. I don't know why people want to trade Breece so bad. He's 21 years old and is the Dynasty RB1.
I have a league where I traded him.
For what?
I traded him and Ken Walker, and I got 323 first.
Not good enough.
It's a league where I don't want to build around running backs, and I have nothing else. And I ended up with now I've got 623 first, and I should have like something kind of similar where I'm gonna have like the top few, and it allows me to rebuild my team the way I don't want to build it around these running backs. I have no quarterbacks. Like by the time I get to the place where I'd be competitive, like now they're going to be 24, 25. I just don't want to build that way.
Yeah, for me, it just isn't. This isn't, isn't good enough.
Okay, we did.
Yeah, we did that one.
Bijan, get Bijan and likely 2 other running backs with my 6 first and 2 early seconds.
Oh, we did. Yeah.
I have 3.
Oh, we did this already as the super chat.
Let's see. Kid Coop, this contingency deal worth moving. Kyler in a 12 team Superflex PPR. He gives me Lamb 23 first, 23 second. I give up Kyler and Gainwell. If he finishes top 4, I get a 24 second. If he finishes bottom 4, I give him a 24 second.
It's confusing, but to try to simplify this in my head, I would take the Lamb side. We're past the point where Kyler is worth like extreme value tier. Now he's just worth a lot of value. So Lamb in a 23 first over Kyler, and then second over Gainwell. Lamb side. Bapjap
just traded Waller for Henderson, running back. Just not overall impressed with Waller this season in a beginner non-competitive family league. Did I win this trade?
You did not.
Sorry, bud.
I'd rather have Waller.
I would rather have Waller as well. Gosh. This is tough. Like if you're in a family league, it's competitive or not competitive.
This is so hard. You can find running backs so much easier than tight end. I mean, you're going to find a tight end who's going to produce like Waller. I know he's been disappointing, but tight end is a wasteland. I mean, they just extended him. He's not going anywhere.
Costi wants to know if you had traded your 23 first and you're middle of the pack, are you trading any spare first to boost up even more?
This is so vague that I don't even know how to answer that.
No. If I'm middle of the pack, I'm not getting rid of.
Yeah, I agree with that, but also this isn't even really a question.
Hayden the Rooster, someone's wanting my Ramondre Stevenson. Other running backs are Swift, Walker, Wilson, Dillon. Should I trade Stevenson for a 23 first, or would y'all shoot for Hunt? I would rather the first than Hunt.
First, yeah, I'd rather the first, and that's that's enough.
It is. And look, I think Ramondre Stevenson looks awesome, but I feel like my experience with the Patriots backfield tells me that doesn't matter.
It's nice to know.
Share carries.
It's nice to know that if the other running backs are hurt, they'll give Ramondre Stevenson a workhorse role, because that wasn't even true in the past.
Right.
In the past, no matter how many players were hurt, they still formed a committee with whoever they could scrounge up.
But I think it was with players they had around for a long time. I think what's different now is like
Brandon Bolden was last year was not a player they had for a long time.
Oh yeah, he was on their roster for a long time.
I mean, was he?
Yeah, absolutely.
But he didn't really see a lot of playing time. I mean, didn't he bounce around the league? I feel like he's a player who bounced around. I remember him being on he was there. Yeah, he was there for a while. Yeah. And then he had that 1 year he went to Miami and then he came back.
It's now they got like Pierre Strong and I just don't think they have they're not comfortable with anybody else. I think that's what's helping him right now.
But it really did used to be this is the first time it's ever happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is nice to know. So at some point there was another situation, but they still went to the scrounge up guys. So it is nice to know that they are willing to give Ramondre Stevenson that work. That is something that's not been true of a Patriots running back in my fantasy.
Since Corey Dillon.
Yeah, but that's outside of my fantasy life.
Yeah.
So that's good. But I do think that if they have Damian Harris or whoever they replace Damian Harris with next offseason, it'll be a committee again. So I don't want to overvalue Ramondre Stevenson. Yeah. But I have moved him up in Dynasty because it's nice to see that he has real upside. He's an RB1 this week. And he was an RB1 last week.
Absolutely.
So that's something. I'd rather have him over J.K. Dobbins.
Thanks, guys. Random follow-up. This was our first year for this league, so London was just another receiver. I don't remember the question.
I don't know what that means.
1 and 5. Should I be holding Javonte Williams for next year, or are you trying to shop?
Wouldn't it be nice if this were the real Garrett Wilson?
Yeah. If this is the real Garrett Wilson, like you have an invite for the show, send me a DM on Twitter and you can come
on. I have thought about trying to get some NFL players on this show.
Be holding Javonte Williams for next year. I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, there's a philosophical thing you have to decide with situations like this and be consistent about. And either you're going to get out in situations like this or you're going to hold. And I think, like, you can follow Addison and, like, Addison's like get out on situations like this. You can go follow like DTC Izzy, who's like, no, I'm holding and I'm going to get value later. And I think those are two different philosophies. They stay consistent on it. Don't let the individual player like influence you so much, because that's how you make mistakes.
I feel like you're just saying that the way I do it is the way I end up making mistakes.
No,
I'm inconsistent about this.
Are you? I feel like you're pretty consistent that you like to, like, if they lose value like this, you like to hold them.
It depends on the player. Because not always. It depends on the player, depends on the situation, depends on the injury. I'm very much, I think the one thing I am is the opposite of what you just said, is I'm not consistent. I take it each player differently, each situation differently, each like piece of information differently. I don't have a unifying strategy for how I handle injuries, how I handle things like this. You know, like players like John Mechie, like I was just like, I'm good. Like, oh, no, thank you. I don't want him. Players like Jameson Williams, I've been in on the whole time. Bye. He's probably, even though he's been injured, he's probably been the player I've been saying to buy the most of almost any player. J.K. Dobbins, I've been like, out, no thank you. Get him away from me. I don't want any part. So I'm not consistent. But that's just, I do find, and this is, I don't have any evidence to support this. And I don't have any evidence to support how right I've been about this, but I feel like I've done a pretty good job. This is, with injuries like this and stuff like this is the situation where I kind of trust the soft information and my gut more than anything else. Where it just, sometimes it just feels like, it just felt like J.K. Dobbins was not ready. And it couldn't prove it. I couldn't prove it. But I don't know why I was feeling that way, but it felt wrong. It felt like it was wrong. It felt like something was wrong. So I was just like, based on that feeling, I was out. Injuries and this type of stuff is where it's one situation where I usually don't go to my gut. I usually go to the numbers. I usually go to the snap counts and carry counts and stats on more than anything else. I rarely ever go to my gut. But with injuries, I feel like I trust my gut more than anything else. And I do find that I'm right more often than I should be. So maybe my unconscious brain is figuring out something that I can't put into words and can't put on an article paper. But I can just tell you, it's easier in a show when I don't have to put it out in an article paper, that I can just tell you how I feel and give you guys the advice on what I would do if I were in your shoes. My gut here is that everything's going to be fine. So I'm generally holding him. But I don't have much information on that.
I was on, I think it's a Dynasty Dummies with Andrew and Rocky and Scott.
I listened to that show, so it wasn't Dynasty Dummies.
Whatever it was.
Dynasty Junkies?
Shoot. Yes, Dynasty Junkies. Sorry. Sorry.
I don't listen to Dummies. I listen to it's in the DAP feed, so I listen to that.
Yeah. And I usually just like try to host this show, but I'll try to give like very brief, because I feel like this was actually kind of interesting. I think you have to separate. This is why I like to separate it out and have like a consistent strategy. So like how you feel about Javonte overall, like, and how he's going to come back. Like, to me, like, it's just like there's too many things outside of our control. Like, are we looking at Saquon where it's going to take a couple of years and finally like come back and like be good? Are we going to like, no one's going to be like AP where all of a sudden, like 8 months later, they run for 2,000 yards. Like, that's just not a like possible thing. J.K. Dobbins needed more time and may still need more time. Like, but I just think like there's such a huge mental aspect to this that we just like cannot possibly know. Like the Cam Akers thing with like McVay and his comments and things like that. Like we have no idea how he's gonna like come back. Versus like James Robinson, like mentally was like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this, and like he doesn't have like the juice that a guy like Javonte Williams has. But we have no idea how Javonte Williams is gonna handle like the 5 o'clock in the morning. I need to go work out and rehab from this injury. Like we cannot get information on that. And like, therefore,
but I do
have
think
to find something that we can control. And what we can control is how we handle these situations.
I do think we can guess. Like, I think that I think we're bad at guessing when we try to think about it too much.
I think it leaves us too influenced by whatever the recent report was.
Yeah, that's probably true, but I don't know why. It's not always based on the player eval, because J.K. Dobbins was a player I really liked, but I didn't like the way the recovery was going. So it's not always that I stick to the players that I liked beforehand. It's not based on the talent eval, but that one just felt wrong. The whole time it felt wrong. So I was kind of like, why did I feel that way though? It's hard for me to elaborate on that one.
Which by the way is fine. Like I think like having a gut instinct, like I don't think that's just based on nothing. It's usually like a combination of like all the information that you intake. You just don't necessarily know how to put it into words.
No,
like
I know.
think that's
what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I say that to to everybody.
Yeah, no, it's not based on nothing, but it is hard to explain. Right. I mean, a lot of the times my answers when some people, how was I so sure that Hollywood Brown, like people when they traded for Robbie Anderson, I was like, well, Hollywood Brown is going to be out for a long period of time. And people are like, well, don't rush to judgment. Don't rush to judgment. I'm like, just trust me. In an hour, you're going to see it. I've seen this a zillion times. I don't know, but I do know. And then, an hour later, there's the report that happens. I mean, it's almost like I didn't know, but I've just seen it so many times. I guess I trust my instincts. Like I have a good instinct about when players are going to be out or in on a given week, just because I've seen the pattern of the report so many times. And it's hard to put it into words, but I can kind of gut instinct it out for you.
Nick Perone, roster 2. This has to be a redraft question. DJ Moore, Tyquan Thornton.
It's so sad that this is a question. Alec Pierce is the best of the 3 by far. And then I'd go for DJ Moore as the second.
Y'all hate Thornton. PJ Monroe, I'm in a dilemma. I have Mixon, Stevenson, and Swift as my running back. Should I start Swift and Amon-Ra or only start one with Mixon and Stevenson? Outside of the week with the Patriots, like I don't think you were upset about starting a lot of Lions.
Yeah, so I think I don't know. I mean, I'd like to start all these players, but this week I have Mixon and Stevenson ranked ahead of Swift. Swift is going against Dallas, a good defense. Stevenson is going against the Bears, and Mixon against the Falcons. So, and Swift is coming off an injury, so I would bench Swift of the 3. I had to have Amon-Ra over Swift. Amon-Ra was also injured, but I'm slightly more confident in Amon-Ra's health. At least he played the week before the bye. Swift didn't play at all. So, yeah, I'll return to Amon-Ra and leave Swift.
Somehow we reminded Nicholas that he got a 23 and 24 first for Josh Jacobs in January. You're the only one, Nicholas. The only one that got that.
Great job.
12 team Superflex, 0.6
David Carr.
I'm assuming
I don't really want David Carr, but I did see him on NFL Network last night. I'll take the first over his brother.
Yeah. Christian McCaffrey or Josh Jacobs in a 24 first?
Jacobs in a 24 first.
10 teams start to QB PPR, Herbert or Lawrence and Waddle? Interesting. In a 10 team?
Take Lawrence and Waddle. It's close though.
Yeah.
That is very close.
It is.
I'll lean Lawrence and Waddle.
Rebuilding 12-team Dynasty, been offered DJ Moore and a 23 fourth for D-Hop and MT.
If you're rebuilding, just take it and just hope. Take DJ Moore and hope, because you don't want to hold the older guys. So no. Just hope it.
A couple 30-year-old wide receivers for DJ Moore.
MT is finished. It's now a 3rd year of not getting on the field. I think I've seen enough to say that MT is totally
Lincoln just traded Waller away from Mixon and Samaje Perine. It's 1.5 tight end premium, but I already have Kelsey and Andrews.
Yeah. I'll go for Mixon.
Give me Mixon, yeah.
Also, Michael Thomas has managed to play 10 games since he signed that $100 million contract, or in the years where that contract covered.
And if you can't tell, that over here is Sean Payton book. Is it his book? So I'm a Saints fan.
Oh,
so,
did you see Sean Payton was at the Broncos Chargers game in a luxury box?
I've told you for months he's going to be the Chargers head coach next year.
I think that the Broncos should make an emergency phone call.
I may or may not have information on that.
I don't know about
Ramondre for Adams in Dynasty PPR.
It's still Adams, but I understand.
Let's see. Also, after that super chat, is Deshaun Jackson worth an ad?
No, I mean, if Devin Duvernay can't do it, Deshaun Jackson can't do it either.
How much fun would that be, though? Come on.
It would be
Is
fun,
Deshaun Jackson one of your most hated players? After what he did to your Giants?
Why? I don't hate him.
Oh, that's one of the best plays in NFL history, right there.
I don't hate him.
Marshawn Lynch had one of the greatest runs in history against the Saints, and I love Marshawn Lynch. So, when now running backs, you'd feel comfortable sending a 23 or 24 first for in a 10-team superflex?
If I could say the single first for Swift, I would do it, but I think you had your chance to do that, and now he's coming back, and it's too late.
Try to trade both for Breece.
That would be nice.
Sure. Traded a first and fourth for Kelsey in a 16-team tight end premium last week. Yeah.
It's going to end up being late, then sure.
Keenan, Tom Brady, Kamara, Swift, Walker. I like that he said Walker the third.
I love his he wrote out the third.
Good job, Keenan. Zeke, CeeDee Lamb, Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson, Jerry Judge Judy. I literally just got Kenneth Walker straight across for Brandon Cooks. But for some reason, I'm only 2 and 4.
Shit happens.
I don't know what's going on here.
I don't know either, bro.
I'm confused too. Can't afford to wait. What was this?
I don't know.
On DJ Moore, maybe? I think he asked about DJ Moore. Just traded Dylan and J-Rob for Breece Hall.
Hall, easily.
This had to be a few weeks ago when there were people talking about Hall.
Now he says just traded though.
I have 5 first-round picks in 23. How many should I spend to buy Breece Hall? Just don't do that.
Yeah, 2, but yeah.
Fingered. Make sure you also are fingering that like button. Appreciate the feedback. Isaac, we appreciate the question, Will. And to make up for my lost depth, I sold Cup for Curtis Samuel and Josh Reynolds.
Not W. L. Terrible. Sorry. Terrible, though.
This is one where
this is one of the worst trades I've ever seen.
Years from now, people are going to be like, what's the you're going to see something on Twitter. It's what's the worst dynasty trade you ever made? And you're going to come back to this.
This is up there with the worst trades I've ever seen. Sorry.
Will says, you all rock. Taco Tuesdays for life.
Depends on whose life.
It's Taco Tuesday. Go Phillies.
No. My Yankees won, though. Yeah. Oh, fun fact. How much do you know about baseball? Oh, how much do you know about baseball? What kind of question is that? Harrison Bader went to my high school.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
At the same time as you or a different time?
Yeah. No, I remember Harrison Bader.
Really?
He was in the grade above me, yeah. We weren't friends or anything.
Oh, I was going to say, man.
No, but so I was reading an article on ESPN. It's 2.5 hours in. Nobody cares at this point. I was reading an article on ESPN. He was talking about this friend that he had. One of his best friends was like, oh, I know who that is too. So it's not a friend of mine, but was in the grade above me. I knew who that was. Who he mentioned as his best friend. But yeah, no, I remember Harrison Bader well. I don't know if I ever talked to him. He wasn't the grade above me. I was kind of a nerd, and he was obviously a jock. But
do you think he would remember that you were the chess champion of your school?
No, I don't think he would remember. But
dang.
I think I might be Facebook friends with him.
Nice.
Honestly, not sure.
Nice.
I haven't checked.
I like Harrison Bader.
Yeah, no, I don't like dislike him or anything. I'm glad that he's doing well on on the Yankees.
Okay, so Breece Hall for a QB, I'm assuming it's got to be super flex. Let me ask you about the quarterbacks, and you tell me, would you take them over Breece Hall? Josh Allen?
Yes.
Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson? I'm sorry, Justin Herbert. Gosh.
Yeah.
Brain. Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts?
Yes.
Kyler Murray?
That's where it starts to get close. I still will.
Joe Burrow?
Yeah, I guess so.
This
Quarterbacks
is
just worth
why,
so much.
Yeah, the reason why I would take all those is because next is Trevor Lawrence.
No.
Then it's Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott,
No.
to Russell Wilson.
No, none of those.
Aaron Rodgers should not be this high.
Yeah. So, by the way, I have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback 21.
Yeah.
And 69th overall in my Superflex rankings. His DLF ADP is a joke. And has been a joke the whole offseason, by the way.
Would you rather Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi in Dynasty?
I'll take Mac Jones, but Bailey Zappi is nipping at his heels.
Mm-hmm. It's almost Bailey Zappi hour.
I don't think it's as far away as you think.
They have to see what this is not a situation where it's like Cooper Rush and Dak, where you've got like years of he's an elite quarterback.
And you're paying him.
Yeah, and you know he's an elite quarterback. Like you cannot Mac Jones, you don't know that. Like you've got to figure out what
he wasn't elite last year or this year.
Nope. We talked about that already. Robbie Sheth traded CMC, Daryl Henderson. My brain tricks me every time I go to Henderson. I want to say Devery, who is about to get inducted in the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame, by the way.
Oh,
and a probably late fourth for Amon-Ra, Wandale, and a probably late second. Great deal.
Yeah, I'll take Amon-Ra in Dynasty.
What's the lowest I should try to get for Matt Ryan, a 14-team Superflex, off of that big performance last week?
Matt Ryan? I mean, you can't get a first, so you do what you have to do.
I know he had a big performance. He just looks.
You're not going to get more than a second or two, but they owe him $30 million something next year. So if he wants to play in 2023, he's going to be their quarterback in 2023. They're going to win too many games to get anyone else. They're not going to replace him with another retread, and nobody's going to trade for him at $30 million, given what he's put on tape. So if he wants to play in 2023, he will be their quarterback in 2023.
Let's see, 12-team Superflex.
We answered this already. I think I would lean the first, but I understand it if you want to take Carr. It's fine.
Jacoby Myers in a fourth or a 23 second. Just lost Marquise.
I'll probably go with Myers.
Yeah, he's worth that. Fantasy Condo traded Ayuk and Taylor Heineke for Marquise Brown this morning. How did I do?
That's a good way to capitalize on Taylor Heineke having some value. I'd rather have Marquise Brown.
Yep. We start Allen Lizard or Amon-Ra St. Brown this week.
Amon-Ra easily. I have Amon-Ra at 10 and Allen Lazard at 24.
Lazard scored in touchdowns.
Yeah, that's why I have him at 24.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's Amon-Ra. In Superflex, who is the lowest QB? We did this one. Come on.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin, Ramondre Stevenson, and Chris Godwin, or Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jalen Warren.
Interesting. It's very close.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very close. I'm gonna lean with the one higher end asset in Amon-Ra, but it's close. If that were a younger wide receiver instead of Chris Godwin, I would consider it. If that said Drake London and Ramondre Stevenson, I would be a lot more interested. I'd probably take it.
Right.
But it doesn't. So I like Chris Godwin, but I am kind of worried that nobody's going to replace Tom Brady and be Tom Brady for how good he's been, even this year, for Godwin and Evans. And Godwin and Evans are both going to be there. So I am worried. Chris Godwin is already 26. I think this is probably going to be the best year of the rest of his career. So it's going to be a quarterback downgrade. I do like him, but I only have him at Dynasty wide receiver 17 even now. I'm still a little skeptical.
Houdon's podcast, full PPR. Am I giving up too much? I think is what he's saying here. I have Juju, Dobbins, and Alan Lazard for Michael Thomas and Eno.
I mean, this is all players I don't want. I mean, I want nothing here.
I'll take the Juju side.
The Juju side, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
If it's redraft, I don't even know. I don't even know which player in this deal is worth the most. Is it?
Well, I don't know why you're trying to acquire Michael Thomas.
Yeah, you don't want.
That's the way you're.
I'd rather have Juju and Lazard in redraft over Thomas. I mean, I guess I'd rather have Thomas over Lazard in Dynasty. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess at this. That's
right.
just an I guess at this stage. I mean, I have Thomas. In Dynasty, I have Juju at wide receiver 41, Thomas at 47, and Lazard at 57. Although that 57 for Lazard might be a little low. I might need to revisit that.
Thanks for the question. Buck, 12-team Superflex. I have Burrow, Jimmy G, Geno, Dalton, and Pickett. Do I trade Pickett for a 23 first? Absolutely. And that
I would, yeah. I would have to do that. I mean, if it's going to be a very late first, we're at the point where I would consider Pickett over that. But for this kind of first, I'll take that first over Pickett for sure.
What are your thoughts on Daniel?
Pickett will probably rank around 109 or 110 in next year's class. If I had to guess, spot it. I'd say if I had to guess, 9 players better, putting him at 110.
But I like that 103 to 106 range. You have a chance at a difference making.
Oh, that's going to be a player that's a tier above Pickett.
Right. So yes.
Yeah.
Mike, what are your thoughts on Daniel Bellinger for Dynasty? Top 15 in scoring. Is he approaching starter status? I think
approaching. I mean, but I do worry that this is like, obviously he's not this type of talent, I don't think, coming into the NFL. But I do worry this is a little bit like an Evan Ingram situation, where Evan Ingram did really well as a rookie when everyone else was hurt or unavailable or non-existent. And is Daniel Bellinger really that great? I don't know. He wasn't a great prospect. He wasn't heralded. He's not the most athletic player in the world. Didn't have the receiving profile that we want. It's kind of, we're getting to he was someone I was all in on as like picking up off waivers. He was in waivers in places. I was all in for that. But if we get to a point where I can get a second for Daniel Bellinger, I think I would just take it and move on. Because I don't know if he's really even going to make it into the David Njoku, Dalton Schultz kind of value range, let alone the Freiermuth, Hawk, Goddard range, or even the one above that. So I don't think he's going to even make it in the Njoku range. So yeah, I think he's just going to be one of these guys who like kind of hangs around on our roster for a while. He's usable sometimes, but is not really like a special, dynasty asset. But I do like him.
Daniel Bellinger is a 22-year-old 4th-round pick, tight end, and he has more receptions than Gabe Davis, and that's a good way to.
Yeah, no, I like him, and you should roster him for sure.
All right, Tyler, any last words before we sign off?
No, I mean, this was a long show. I appreciate everyone who tuned in. Not having Addison definitely wore me out a little bit. I miss him, but I hope I think he was feeling a little sick, so I hope he's feeling better. I just want to thank the audience for watching. And everyone who tunes in every week. You can follow us both on Twitter. Cal has his banger tweets that come out from time to time. I don't have those, but I have my volume tweeting. And then, yeah, I plugged the Patreon earlier in the show. My own YouTube channel I've talked about from time to time. And then, eventually I used to write for DLF. I still will. During the off season, I plan to write some articles. Just during the season, I just find that I'm a little crunched, so I just don't have time. But during the off season, I'll probably get back to writing. I have some specific ideas for articles, so we're getting in 3 months you can look for that.
I agree with you. Very randomly, I have tweets that like people like
You
like to
do,
argue
yeah.
with me about, and I don't really know. Like, I think it's because I so rarely like have an interesting thought that when I do, people are like, "Oh, look at that interesting thought."
Yeah.
All right.
You're a good tweeter, though.
I like defending those things on there. It's fun. I have a great time with that. I legitimately love it.
Yeah, you enjoy it, I think, more than I do.
I do. All right, Tyler, thank you very much. Thank you for everybody in the chat, and thanks for DynastyFootball.com giving us a chance to do this show. We appreciate all of that. And yeah, we'll see you guys